Hi, David. Hi. Hello, everybody. Okay, it is like really weird timing. Okay, yes, I'm 10 minutes late than the scheduled time that I was gonna say that I started when I didn't even know I was supposed to start at that time. I was doing dishes. I wanted to finish my dishes before I started. So, bite me. Anyway, how's everyone's day? How's everyone doing? I'm gonna redo this because I don't know if Kami's in that one. I don't know. I'm just gonna go in. I'll just wait for him. I'll just wait for him. It was dishes. I had dishes to do. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the last, I think I had like 4 more chapters of like the chunk from yesterday. And then I had 8 chapters from whatever is after that. We'll see. Do my eyebrows actually look fake? Aw, thank you. It might not have been a compliment, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment. Thanks. Thanks so much. I'm just gonna wait for Kami to do the music. And we'll see. Okay, I'm so excited to read Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. I know I still have like so much to do with, and you look tired. Oh my god, thank you. You guys always know just what to say. Anyway, I'm really excited to read Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint because I got sent an edit by it. It didn't spoil anything. It was just like an edit, and I was like, okay, go work, computer. Go work. It was a concern. Well, I actually, I maybe am a little bit tired. I was working a lot the last couple days. And that was probably why I look a little tired. Tried to put on makeup to hide it, but clearly it did not work. Okay, where is this French fuck? Like, he tells me to start early, and he's not even here to do the music. No! Did somebody just say I look older? So rude. I'd rather take that I look tired than that I look older. I'm too old to be told that I look old. It's not a compliment. It's the eyebrows. Okay, I don't know what's up with my eyebrows. This is how I do my eyebrows every single day. Do my eyebrows make me look old every single day? Maybe it's just the lighting. That might be it. Crazy. Okay, well, I'm gonna give Kami 2 more minutes. Can somebody get him, please? Before I just do my own music and start reading. And we'll see. I love how the might be in more wrinkle definition. Ban. Somebody ban that guy. Somebody ban barbecues crunch. Is that crunch? No, it's crunch. Somebody ban him right now. Where the fuck are you? More looks like ban. Who said it? Who said that? Who said I look like Captain Dunn? Ban. I'm gonna start banning people. I'm gonna ban you from the lives. I'm gonna ban you from the Discord. I'm gonna ban you from everything. Gone. And then the only compliment got deleted. Crazy. Thank you. I should start wearing more white. Okay, well, I'll just start until he gets here, I guess. Because I don't know. No, truly. Truly. I actually have no authority to say anything. Okay. Well, I don't know where he is, so just give me a second. I'm gonna get some music going before I start reading. Because I was told to start early, and then the person who told me to start early isn't even here. No, actually, not even here. So now I can't even start early with the music. And then he's gonna come on, he's gonna be like, that's all your fault. And I'm gonna be like, okay. And I'll just take the blame, because everything's always my fault. I did like a bit. Okay, well, let me know when he shows up. Chapter 1175. Ideas are very important. Making things difficult for Amon. Palazorus chuckled. What benefits can there be? Otherwise, I forgot. Or, no, was it lagging? What a great way to start. Can't even win. Leonard was momentarily at a loss of words. After a few seconds, he said, at least it can make you feel good. Palaz chuckled. It will feel better if you don't bring this topic up. Without waiting for Leonard to respond, the Sequence 1 angel from the Marauder Pathway sighed. I don't know. Because it's just comfortable. I'm reading a book. I want to be comfortable. Man, get off my dick. Without waiting for Leonard to respond, the Sequence 1 angel from the Marauder Pathway sighed with his slightly aged voice. Doesn't your former colleague have a decent charm? Perhaps he can use this to come up with a solution. After getting rid of the Amon, avatars, and Backlund, Palaz had given the godhood symbols and the magic labels needed to make 4 charms decent: parasite, deprivation, and aging. To Leonard had passed on this knowledge to Klein, and the latter had used the knowledge of the Worms of Time to create 1 deceit parasite and deprivation bullet each. Later on, he had used them to deal with Conus Kilgore, but Leonard wasn't aware of this. Leonard whispered thoughtfully, Old man, are you saying that by using the deceit charm you can mislead Amon and cause him to misidentify the location, preventing him from influencing Klein's escape? In his mind, Palazora snapped back. Do you think it's possible to use a deceit charm in front of the Marauder Pathway's King of Angels? It's impossible. Leonard laughed dryly and pressed a thick-skinned manner. What do you mean, then? Palazora's voice suddenly sounded more spirited. Deceive the rule that one can only return to where one's body is. Deceive the rule? That works too? Leonard asked in shock. Palaz gave a self-deprecating laugh and sighed. Compared to deceiving Amon, deceiving a rule is much easier. After all, underneath this world of madness and chaos, this sentence made Leonard speechless for a moment. On the one hand, he wasn't experienced enough. He didn't know that orders and laws could be deceived, and on the other hand, he never expected that the old man's heart, Amon, was even more terrifying than the laws of nature and order of this world. After nearly 10 seconds, he spoke again. With this method, how high is the possibility of success? It's very, very low, Palaz said with a sneer. However, the probability of deceiving the order of the world like this with a deceit charm made from the Worm of Time of Amon's avatars is very, very low. Therefore, my suggestion is to still get him to make a request to the Fool for help. Yeah, about that. Don't waste any more time. When fighting Amon, the longer the delay, the more dangerous it will be. Leonard pondered for a moment before nodding in agreement. I understand. I'll also advise him to do so. Of course, he wouldn't forget mentioning the high improbability method that the old man had suggested. That it's good that you understand. Seriously disturbing an old man's reading. As Pallas mumbled, his voice gradually lowered and disappeared from Leonard's mind. In 7 Pincer Street, the newspaper that was placed on the coffee table suddenly flew up and automatically spread open over the sofa. Using a deceit charm to deceive the requirement that can only resurrect where my original body is. Above the grey fog in the ancient palace, Klein reconstructed Pallas Zora's suggestion in his own words. As soon as he finished speaking, he recalled the animal hide lantern that kept burning. Amon had deceived the laws of nature, allowing the candle to remain in a magical state and continue burning for a week without needing any fuel. His eyes lit up as he whispered, "This line of thought is something only an angel from the Mortar pathway can think of immediately. It might not be impossible." Like Pallas, he didn't feel that compared to dealing with Amon, it was much easier to deal with the laws of nature. After seeing Hope, he immediately analyzed the possible outcomes. Although I've already used the deceit bullet I can summon from the historical void after all, before its effects end, I'll definitely reform my body and successfully resurrect. The laws of nature are truly pitiful. No wonder they will be deceived, even if the item used deceived as it is fake. The only problem is that the bullet might not be able to deceive the mysticism law. I was already a little difficult to deal with Conus Kilgore back then. Amidst his thoughts, he slowly surveyed the area and gradually gained inspiration. That was to use Sephra Castle. After gaining initial control of Sephra Castle, he could already mobilize the power of a Sequence 2 angel here. And many of the things he had come into contact with previously had explained the authority of Sephra Castle had a high probability of spanning over 3 pathways of Seer, Apprentice, and Marauder. It could generate a convergence effect on the corresponding Beyonders, and it had clearly attracted the attention of Amon. That was to say, Klein suspected that Sephra Castle had the power of these 3 pathways at the same time. However, as a Seer, most of the power that he could stir was concentrated in this domain. With the help of the medium known as the Deceit Bullet, I might be able to stir the other powers of Sephra Castle. Since I'm already capable of using some miracles in the Seer domain, having power from the Marauder pathway at the angel level is a highly reasonable deduction. The only problem is that there must be a medium of a sufficient level. This way I don't have to worry about not being able to deceive that rule. As his thoughts brightened up, he seriously began to formulate a plan. He used the mysticism laws as a target in an attempt to formulate a scam. In order to reduce the difficulty, it's best to have an additional preparation. I can't deceive something out of nothing, at least unless I'm Amon's true body. Yes, I'll bestow a tube of my blood to Little Sun. I'll create a fake respawn point that exceeds the range, and then, using the deceit bullet as a trigger, stir the corresponding angel-level powers contained within Sephra Castle, misdirecting the rule and making it view a fake respawn point as the real one, while the real one becomes the fake one. He outlined the details bit by bit, and when his thoughts finally took form, Klein immediately used the mysticism connection between himself and the spot he died to observe the actual situation with his true vision. He saw that the grayish-yellow fog had thinned a lot, and the deep ravine that hid Chernobyl was no different from before. It was unknown where Amon, who was wearing a pointed hat and monocle, had stolen the rock from and had placed it on the spot where Klein had passed away. He sat on it and patiently played with the human skin glove. He occasionally bent the human skin glove finger and stretched it at the other times, as if he could pass 100 years doing that. About a kilometer away, in a certain spot in the grayish-yellow fog, 3 Amons in black classical mage robes crouched down at a rock as they seriously played poker cards. I love him. That they had stolen from somewhere. From time to time, they would nudge their monocle. Elsewhere, in this extensive moor, Amon would be alone in groups, strolling leisurely with his thoughts, or discussing all sorts of questions with one another. In the dark and dangerous forsaken land of the gods, it was such a harmonious scene. It would have been better if the young men weren't all wearing the same classical robes, pointed hats, and monocles, with a similar black hair, black eyebrows, broad forehead, and thin faces. Just as Klein was about to make a further observation, the Amon sitting on the rock suddenly raised his head, he nudged his crystal-carved monocle, and looked at him. Across the moor, all the Amons looked up at the highest point of the fog of history. Klein immediately retracted his gaze and cut off the connection. In the city of Silver, Derek Berg arrived at the top of the spire and met Chief Colin Iliad. "Your Excellency, I've already received the promise of the blessing," Derek said frankly and directly. With white hair on his old scar on his face, Colin Iliad was visibly relieved. He slowly nodded and said, "That's good. That's good." He had repeated the sentence in a rare instant. As an excellent demon hunter and the City of Silver's chief, he had always been patient, never taking unnecessary risks. Therefore, when the sudden lack of reproach from the fool, he didn't immediately turn to the true creator, and he decided to wait patiently for another month. For the City of Silver, which had been waiting in the Dark Ages for more than 2,000 years, a month was something that could be accepted. Without waiting for Derek to reply, Demon Hunter Colin left the window and calmly said, "Head back first. I'm going to start preparing for the advancement ritual." Derek glanced at the chieftain sincerely. "You'll definitely succeed." He didn't stay any longer. He immediately left the spire and returned home. After setting up the ritual again and placing the 6 powerful corpses that he had hunted to the correct position, Colin Iliad began to concoct the potion. After all this was done, the City of Silver's chief closed his eyes and lowered his head, chanting in Jotun, "The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the grey fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck." Above the grey fog, Klein saw ripples of light emanating as he heard the silent, illusory prayers. He immediately summoned a paper figurine and combined the power of Sephra Castle with it. He threw it into the prayer circle and conveniently marked the City of Silver's chief. At the same time, with the help of the prayer circle, he observed the situation on the entire spire of the City of Silver. He confirmed that there was no signs of Amon's parasitic entrance near the chief or little son. "I have to seize this opportunity." Klein immediately conjured the world Gammon Sparrow and made him pose as they prayed. At that moment, Colin Iliad saw the light. In this holy light, a holy angel with 12 pairs of illusory wings suddenly descended. As clean, white feathers fluttered down, the demon hunter was embraced with these wings and light. This was the blessing from Mr. Fool. Chapter 1176. Not 1170. Yep, it was 1176. I said it correct. I said it correctly. Plot. Oh, also, let me look. Oh, he is! Okay. Kami, I will let you do the music now that you are here. Now that you're here, I'll let you take over. Unless he's gone now, again. In which case, I give up. Oh, Merlin. This is the last chapter, buddy. So sorry. The streak continues. We're actually ending after this chapter. Goddamn. Bro, can someone get Kami, please? Oh my god! I literally got rid of my music so he could play his music, and now I want it back. Yeah, Merlin, I actually woke up and I'm super sick. So, we're only doing this will be the last chapter. Sorry. We're actually ending after this. Okay, well, I guess I'll just read, and then whenever he shows back up again, the music will play again. Well, I've actually already been told that I look tired, sick, and old today, so maybe I will end stream early. Thanks, guys. In the face of the angel's embrace, Colin Iliad wasn't astonished. He accepted everything with a calm expression, as though he was already prepared. The ritual began. He took 4 steps forward, picked up the Silver Night potion, and poured it into his mouth. With a sound, this demon hunter's body swelled up, turning into a grayish-blue giant and bluish-black veins covering him. He stood several meters tall, with black cracks on his forehead. I feel like I'm supposed to... Every inch of this giant contained the indescribable power of the mystery and terror. Apart from his head, which still retained the appearance of human, the rest of his body was akin to the mythical creatures that exerted the strange mental influence. In the next second, the skull I know, it feels weird. Somebody get him back. Dude, I should change it to something really uplifting and like really exciting and happy. For these next little bit. It'll be good. I don't know. You know what? Here's the thing. I think I'm gonna get a new Music Man because I think Cammy just retired. I think he's gone. He's he's kind of over it. He got fed up. He left. And I'm actually just on my own now. So that's cool. No, dude. Play something. I'm gonna play something that Kami would be so scared of to come back to. But I gotta find something that's not gonna get copyrighted. That's the only problem. We gotta find something that won't get copyrighted. Oh my god, play some Christmas songs. Okay. Without a sound, the demon hunter's body swelled up, turning into grayish-blue giant and bluish-black veins covering him. He stood several meters tall, with black cracks on his forehead. Every inch of this giant contained an indescribable power of mystery and terror. Apart from his head, which still retained the appearance of human, the rest of his body was akin to a mythical creature that exerted the strange mental influence. In the next seconds, the skull underlying Colin Iliad's head seemed to soften as it sank inwards, with the black cracks as its core. Its head slowly squirmed, as though it was forming a nebulous vortex. Such pain made the City of Silver's chief, who has killed many powerful creatures, unable to restrain himself. Is he gonna lose control? Pause. Is Colin Iliad about to lose control? I'm actually so scared. Unable to restrain himself, he let out a series of howling cries that could make the minds of ordinary creatures split apart. If it wasn't for the fact that Colin Iliad had already evacuated the members of the Spire in advance, leaving behind only the demigod-level Wait Chairmont to watch over him and prevent any accidents from happening, many Beyonders would have definitely lost control. The remains of the 6 powerful living creatures that were situated in different spots floated up under the invisible powers of the ritual, circulating the mutated Colin Iliad using some sort of mysterious connection to awaken some of the memories of the peerless demon hunter. It was an experience of hunting demons. It was him painfully ending the former chief's attack with his own hands. It was his life of defeating powerful monsters again and again. These manifestations appeared like paintings on an altar. Sometimes they would be integrated into Colin Iliad, and sometimes they would be extracted from him, helping him to find himself. He maintained a certain level of clarity during the extreme pains and changes. Only at this moment did Colin Iliad finally understand the essence of the ritual. As a sequence for a demon hunter, the hunting of every powerful creature was a battle of intense mental catharsis. It left a deep impression on his life. With these powerful mental imprints, it was able to locate himself after consuming the potion and not be lost in pain and madness. This made Colin Iliad retract the term record in some of the books in the City of Silver, Anchor. At sequence 3, he considered a deity in a certain sense. He could respond to prayers with a certain range, so an anchor was required. As this was the level of an angel, an anchor didn't necessarily need to be a believer. It could be replaced by other things, such as a clear marks on one's life and had meaning to mysticism. In the memories that had been awakened, Colin Iliad slowly regained his self-awareness. He felt his body again, grasped its changes. Right on the heels of that, the lawyer of the wings formed from illusory light extended out from behind him. They fused with the surrounding paintings as they constantly shrank inward, and the surface of Colin Iliad's body collapsed into the silver armor that was firm and beautiful, but it didn't possess any weight to it. After the demon hunter advanced to the Silver Knights, due to the difference in deities' blessings, there would be differences between Silver Knights. Previously the leader of the king's court chasers, light ruler Merskogane, and he had received blessings from the Giant King. Therefore, the various aspects of the Silver Knight domain were much stronger. On the other hand, Colin Iliad could occasionally make this body condense a silver rapier that could teleport. While in the combat, it would appear at random during an attack, with beneficial tendencies bringing about unpredictable changes. In addition, he could also obtain a certain uniqueness when using mercury liquefaction. As the silver armor finally took form, Colin Iliad had completed his advancement. Apart from not having a single vertical eye on his head, it was equivalent to a mythical creature. Okay. At this moment, he raised his right hand and waved to the side. It was a small hill outside the City of Silver. A silver beam erupted out of thin air and tore apart everything around it, splitting small hill into 2 halves. During During Colin Iliad's advancement as Silver Knight, Derek Berg completed the bestowment ritual and obtained a small metal tube. Seizing the opportunity of the City of Silver's chief creating an abnormalities and drawing away most of the attention, Klein suddenly reached out while in an ancient palace above the Great Fog. He had summoned the Bullet of Deathil from the historical void. Right on the heels of that, he did a divination advancement, confirming that there weren't any signs of Amon's parasites around Little Sun. Without any hesitation, he opened his revolver cylinder and stuffed the deceit bullet into it. With the shake of his right hand, he closed the cylinder and used the mysticism connection to aim at the spot where he had died. Bang. He calmly pulled the trigger and fired only bullets. At the same time, taking advantage of the Beyonder effects, he willed Sephra Castle's powers into mobilizing. The grey fog boiled once again, including the space around them. A majestic but slightly dark energy surged out like a tidal wave, wrapping around the bullet, passing through the gate and shooting towards the real world. The light in Sephra Castle suddenly dimmed. Suppressing his fear and horror, Klein used Deathnill's historical projection to stimulate the feeling of sudden deceit. He leaped towards the crimson star representing the sun and leaped towards the tiny tube on his blood. On the barren moors of Chernobyl, all of the Amons wearing pointed hats raised their heads and looked at the lightning streak across the sky. They looked at the deep and quiet swathe, and even the lightning couldn't illuminate. The Amons nudged their monocle, and after a moment of silence, they laughed. He doesn't seem to like someone who can come up with such a solution. Pallets? He joined this organization codenamed the Tarot Club. In the Berg House of the City of Silver, the darkness in front of Derek suddenly turned dark. As if Hey guys, the darkness turned dark. Don't know how that happened, but it did. To the residents of the City of Silver, this wasn't a good thing. Derek's eyes immediately lit up in the light of the sun. At this moment, bits of light burst out from the deep darkness like transparent squirming worms. The tube that Derek had received shattered automatically as fresh red blood floated out from the suspended itself in midair. It didn't spread apart, but instead merged with the fragrance of light. Right? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, that's actually insane. In just 2 to 3 seconds, light fragments condensed into one, forming a huge ball of light. The spherical light ball stretched out and changed, quickly forming a figure. The figure had deep outline and cold expression. He wore a silk... Not me, instantly panting like a dog. Oh my god. Silk top hat and black coat while wearing a black iron black revolver. It was none other than Garamond Sparrow. Having successfully deceived the laws of mysticism, Klein used the help of his old blood to complete his resurrection without needing any introduction. Derek had already... No, because here's the thing. I love this man so much. I truly do. Like, I think on probably a biblical level, I love Garamond Sparrow. After being stunned for a moment, he instinctively revealed an uncontrollable smile. Mr. World? I would also have an uncontrollable smile if Garamond Sparrow appeared in my room. Oh my god. He'd never be leaving. He'd pop up right here. He'd never be leaving. Ever. Klein raised his head slightly and looked to the sun, who seemed to have grown taller. He subconsciously reached out and pressed down on his top hat. He nodded gently and said, "I will be in the Forsaken Land of the Gods during this period of time. However, I have to leave now. I can't lure Amon into the City of Silver. If there's a chance in the future, I will cooperate with you." Having understood what Mr. World meant, Derek nodded heavily and said, "All right." Aw, dude! This is so cute. Derek's so excited to see someone from the outside world. Just as Klein raised his right hand and was about to snap his fingers to leave with flaming jump, Darren looked at him and suddenly pointed to the storage cabinet in the room. "Mr. World, do you need to bring some food with you? There are mushrooms that can produce milk." Klein controlled himself not to let the corners of his mouth twitch. He maintained a cold attitude and said, "I don't drink milk." As soon as he finished speaking, he snapped his fingers, causing the scarlet flames to fly out of his pocket, wrapping around him like water. I'll wrap around him like water. The fire quickly dissipated like falling stars, and Klein's figure disappeared from Derek Berg's room. Outside the city of Silver and deformed forest, flames flashed continuously, exerting all the way to the moors leading to the north. After he truly left the city of Silver, declined slow down his footsteps and summoned a lantern from the historical void. He had long expected that the revival process would go so smoothly. After all, he found the correct solutions. There was no way that Amon could stop him. In the city of Silver, Amon only had a few avatars at the sequence 4, 3 level, so Klein could use his true vision to locate them and eliminate them ahead of time. If they could form an avatar at the sequence 2 level, Klein, who had gained initial control over Sephra Castle, could stir powers at the power of an angel, allowing him to easily fight such an avatar while being above the Great Fog, and would stay undefeated since he couldn't be attacked. He had the confidence to defeat his opponent. If Amon moved his true body to the City of Silver, then Klein could choose to revive at his original spot. Of course, Amon could create an avatar that was almost at sequence 1 and send him to the City of Silver. However, under the premises of the conversion of Beyonder characteristics, how many avatars could he create? Not more than 2. As for Klein, he could split his remaining blood into multiple portions. He could use the bestowment ritual to send them to the Hangman and Mam Hermit and to the Star Leonard. There are way too many spots where he could revive, so there was no way Amon could guard all of them. This was an above-board plan, based on the own level, beyond our powers, and special ability of Sephra Castle. Before he attempted to revive himself, Klein was already quite certain of the outcome. The only thing he was worried about was that deceit would be detected by Amon ahead of time, allowing him to interfere with the timely manner, causing his respawn location to change. Fortunately, his divination had confirmed that the level of danger wasn't high. This was one of the reasons why he dared to try. I really escaped Amon. As he advanced amidst the dim yellow light, Klein felt the presence of his body, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Of course, he knew very well that he was going to encounter the relentless pursuit of Amon's main body and various avatars. Chapter 1177. I literally said the other day that I ended up having to work the day that I was going to do the Force cosplay. And then the girl who was going to do it with me and like do the photos and make it so that it looks nice, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. We had to reschedule, and now we're finding a time where our schedules both align and we can do it. So we're going to figure that out. I don't know when it will be, but it will be at some point. Also, Kami, do you want to do music at some point? Or do you just want me to do music? Is there at any point I'm going to have to change the music? Or is this fine? Just let a girl know. Okay. On the Dislet. Okay, sounds good. Just let me know when you want me to do it. And I will do it on stream, but I also want it to be like done with nice pictures. That's all. And also, I just have to find time to do it, but that's all. Okay, bye. Have a good night. On the desolate moors filled with deep ravines, Amon stood on different spots. They opened their mouths and chanted in Yon, the blessed of the spirit world and Sephra Castle, the mystery stemming from ancient times, the witness of the extended history, protector of backlit magic and drama performers, the great Garamond Sparrow. These voices were layered as they bored into the void as though the extent of the infinite distance. 10 seconds later, all of them adjusted their crystal monocles in different manners and chuckled softly. He changed it really quickly. If Garamond Sparrow was still automatically responding to this honorific name, they could use this opportunity to determine the other party's location and create an error to appear directly beside their target. In the darkness that was illuminated by the lightning from time to time, the hatted and coated Klein proceeded north of the moderate palace while holding a lantern. There's a prayer. Amon is using Garamond Sparrow's honorific name. This means that the number of Amons aren't too far from me, but the City of Silver doesn't have parasites. They're in the surrounding patrol teams, or in some unexpected creatures. As he walked, Klein suddenly turned his head and listened carefully for a few seconds. Regarding this matter, he was rather glad that he was cautious enough. He had changed the honorific name that allowed the default acknowledgement while above the Great Fog. It went from Protector of Backland Magic and Drama Performers to Protector of all poor children in Backland. This came from the Lower Charity Bursary Foundation he had set up. Yes, Amon is a cryptologist. It's very likely that he can interpret his honorific name from the information regarding Dwayne Dantes. No, I don't even need an automatic response. As Klein looked at the faint yellow light emitted by the lanterns, he quickly made a decision. He made every worm a spirit only capable of listening to prayers, without having the ability to autonomously respond unless they had been given permission from the main body. This was frequent prayers would severely affect his daily life, but it wasn't a big problem. This was because, other than Amon's vile harassment, no one else would pray to Gairman Sparrow, since he hadn't spread the word about his honorific name. After settling in this manner, Klein thought of all of Amon's terrifying aspects. He suddenly had doubts about what to do next. His original plan was to stay far away from the City of Silver and head to Noise Ruins in the north and investigate the situation there. He wanted to see if he could obtain the main ingredients needed for Miracle Invoker Potion. However, after connecting the ancient city ruins with Amon, a problem was revealed. Klein could already confirm that the upper levels of the neighboring pathways also followed the law beyond a characteristic convergence, since Amon had been wandering around the Forsaken Land of the Gods for more than 1,000 years and had come to near the City of Silver. How could he not be attracted to the Noise Ruins in the north? For this chief of the City of Silver not to dare to enter. It means the power in the Noise City has definitely reached the level of an angel. Amon wouldn't ignore it. He probably doesn't dare to directly eat such a high level beyond a characteristic from a neighboring pathway, but that doesn't prevent him from setting up a trap. Even if he hadn't done so in the past, he would definitely be rushing over there now. Of course, I can't exclude the possibility that Amon has yet to discover it, because during the City of Silver's chief's first visit, the Noise Ruins weren't as dangerous. Perhaps that power at an angel level came to the Noise Ruins later. He has been constantly migrating his believers to avoid Amon. Amidst his thoughts, Klein felt a little afraid of heading northwest for an ancient city. He decided to first see if there were any other ways to obtain the main ingredient for Miracle Invoker Potion before considering if he should head to the periphery of the Noise Ruins to observe and gather some intel. With that in mind, he walked towards the wreckage of the tall tower in the black coat and half-top hat, guided by the occasional lightning. Along the way, in a dangerous darkness outside the dim yellow light, monsters lined up silently following him. They were already his marionettes. Compared to them, the Saint of the Seer pathways was even more bizarre and terrifying. As they walked, one of the marionettes looked like a fish with limbs suddenly chanted in Jotun. The sun that is eternal. You are an inextinguishable light. You are an embodiment of order. The moment it finished reciting the 3-line honorific name, the monster collapsed to the ground and lost its life. The honorific name of deities wasn't limited to 3 lines, but when chanting it, one could choose any 3. For example, the Eternal Blazing Sun complete honorific name was Eternal Blazing Sun, Extinguishable Light, Embodiment of Order, God of Contracts, Guardian of Businesses. And just now, Klein had used the first 3. With this method, he prayed to the Lord of Storms, the god of knowledge and wisdom, and the Evernight goddess, hoping to receive a certain response. However, there was no change in the surroundings 15 minutes later. It's useless to pray to a second zero true deity in the Forsaken Land of the Gods, unless the target is the true creator or is an existence of wields, things like Sephra Castle or the Chaos Sea. That's not right. In Afternoon Town, the clergyman had the goddess's true name concealed when saying it. When he mentioned the 4th king of angels, he suffered immolation. Due to the involvement of deities, perhaps it's because there's still all kinds of divine powers in the Forsaken Land of the Gods. Not only concealment and degradation, and the true names of the different deities each have special meaning and mysticism, allowing it to stir the corresponding powers. This way, it would explain why the City of Silver has been teaching the 2 true names of Badhill and Harabergen, but they didn't end up establishing any connection with the god of combat or the god of knowledge and wisdom. The prayers in the Forsaken Land of the Gods are not heard by the true deities, or, even if they can hear them, they are unable to respond. This also means that there are no remnant powers of the god of combat or god of knowledge, otherwise there would have been a certain anomalies. Yes, it's also possible that not because there are no anomalies, but that the 2 grade 0 sealed artifacts, god-level sealed artifacts, in the City of Silver have eliminated them. In that case, if I were to directly chant the true name of the goddess, would it cause the surrounding darkness and concealment to stir? If this kind of power can be controlled, I'll have an additional effect trump card when being attacked by Amon. The probability isn't very high. Directly chanting the true name of a deity is an act of blasphemy, and it will result in the corresponding backlash, just like Afternoon Town's clergyman. Based on the logic and the phenomenon he had seen, Klein came to the theory on the present situation. He was eager to try reading out all the true names of the deities. He knew, one by one, and checking their effects. Finally, he restrained himself and didn't blindly make the attempts. He better go above the great fog to do a divination first, otherwise who knows if there'll be unbearable accidents. Divination involving deities might not give a clear revelation. After muttering inwardly for a while, Klein scoffed at his impulsiveness. My previous plan was akin to, I haven't been courting death for 2 days. I shall do it seriously today. At that moment, he had already arrived at the collapsed tower. He sat beside the wall that had only been cut down in half. He reached out to take a paper crane from the historical void and ignited it. He wanted to see if he could contact the snake of fate Will Acceptance Ceres, if there was a medium. He wanted to know where he could obtain the main ingredients for Miracle Invoker Potion. Under the illumination of the third summoning of the lantern, Klein fell into a deep sleep, but he didn't dream of anything. Indeed, it doesn't work. After he woke up, Klein shook his head and let his body enter a historical void. Following that, he took 4 steps counterclockwise and arrived above the gray fog. Sitting at the seat belonging to the fool, he beckoned for a small paper box in the junk pile. Inside was a stack of paper cranes. These were personally folded by a certain baby. At the same time, the world-given sparrow was conjured. He prayed to Mr. Fool in a grayish-white region and requested him to forward his request to Miss Justice, saying that this act could allow her to make contributions to her exchange for the manipulator potion formula. Of course, Klein had already revealed that the potion needed to be consumed well amidst a huge emotional resonance. Back in the Emperor's Burrow, inside the Hall family's luxurious mansion, Audrey returned to her bedroom once again and set up the bestowment ritual to obtain the paper crane. She picked up the thin pencil and wrote on the paper crane's surface, Dwayne Dantes has requested you to meet with him. After finishing her preparations, Audrey followed Mr. World's instruction and placed the paper crane under her pillow before lying down for sleep. Soon, she saw pitch black. Oh my god, is Audrey gonna meet Will Accepton? Also, hi! I don't know if you're saying hi to me, but hi! I'm so excited. Also, I've noticed, I'm not saying Klein picks favorites, but if he did, Audrey is definitely his favorite. I think maybe we're all starting to pick up on the fact that Audrey is definitely probably Klein's favorite. He gets her to do the most things and join him for the most things. Actually, yeah, Klein definitely has favorites. Yeah. And it's because Audrey has money. It's because Audrey has money. Yup. Yes. What can I say? We call Klein the USA the way he's supporting the billionaires. Protecting the billionaires. After finishing her preparations, Audrey followed Mr. World's instructions and placed the paper crane under her pillow before lying down for sleep. Soon she saw the pitch-black desolated plain as a dreamwalker who had given herself hints in advance. She maintained her curiosity and walked towards the black steeple in the middle of the plains with a strong curiosity. Soon as she arrived at her destination, Audrey's spiritual perception was triggered. She raised her head and looked at the top of the steeple. At some point in time, there was a giant silver snake coiled there. The gigantic snake didn't have any scales. Its body was covered with symbols and patterns that formed wheels that were connected to each other with different labels. At that moment, the gigantic snake was staring at Audrey with bright red eye and cold eye. Stop talking. Audrey, with its bright red and cold eyes, it said in a low voice, "What does Dwayne Dantes want?" This is the angel fate pathway that gave Ma'am Hermit a drop of blood. Audrey controlled her thoughts and calmly looked at the gigantic snake. She said, and honestly, he wanted me to ask you where he can obtain the main ingredient for Miracle Invoker Potion. The gigantic silver snake suddenly fell silent for a few seconds before saying, the number of the sequence 2s in different pathways differ in numbers. Under the situation of the quota of attendant and mysteries being fulfilled, there can only be a total of 6 Miracle Invokers. Miracle Invoker is the name of sequence 2 potion. Mr. World is going to become an angel. Or is he making preparations for his partner? No, if it's a companion, he can get them to ask him themselves. Audrey first alarmed before she began to look forward to the mysterious serpent's answer. Oh my god. Okay. I will go into the new room that you sent. I feel like, here's the thing. Here's the other thing though. I feel like we can all agree that Shio is probably Klein's least favorite. Trying to think right now. Audrey is definitely his favorite. Audrey is definitely his favorite. I feel like then it would probably go Derek. I feel like it would be like Audrey, Derek, and then maybe like, probably like Alger. Probably. I feel like he would like Alger next. And then least favorite is Shio. And then I also feel like, don't hate me, because I know I didn't like her at first and now we do like her, but I feel like it would be like, here's the thing, I'll get on to Leonard in a minute. I feel like he likes Leonard. It's like a... I gotta capitalize the H or it's gonna bother me. Yeah, you know? I feel like it would be like Shio, and then like maybe Shio Fours, Emlyn, Alger, Derek, Audrey. I feel like, oh, Katlia. Katlia's also, I feel like, at the bottom. Katlia's under Fours. It'd be like Shio, Katlia, Fours, Emlyn, Alger, Derek, Audrey. And then Leonard's not on that scale because that's his man. You know? Maybe Fours above Emlyn. But Fours would not be above Alger, Derek, or Audrey. I feel like that's what I will die with the agenda. Sorry. Yeah. Shio, Katlia, Emlyn, Fours, Alger, Derek, Audrey. And then Leonard's like over here. What question did you ask me? No, because we don't need to... Silence! That's so rude. That's so rude. Because you know that sometimes he's disguised as a Garamond Sparrow. No, I'm gonna cry. Why would you bring that up? Why would you bring that up? That's so mean. Fours is back on the bottom. Also, we don't need to talk about my theory that I thought everyone was Klein, and that I thought that the world was actually a loop. And that, no, because that's what I'm saying, is like, I earlier was like, damn. I used to think everybody was Klein. I used to think that the world was a time loop. I used to think Klein was the ancient sun god. Guys, No, because I'm thinking back, and I'm like, yikes. Why didn't you guys tell me to shut up? No, but here's the thing. You did tell me to shut up. You were like, hey, that's so stupid. And I was like, I don't know. I think there might be some merit to this. There was no merit at all. None at all. Here's the thing, I got a few things right. Did I get the overall story right? No. No, I did not. But truly, I think when I'm done, I might do like a compilation of my worst theories and worst takes. Do like a tier list of them maybe. Where I used to think Dunn was evil. I used to think that everybody was Klein. Klein was the ancient sun god. The world was a loop. What else did I used to think? I used to think a lot of things. They were all wrong. All of them were wrong. The cocoons! No! The cocoons will forever haunt me. No, but truly, I think here's the thing, out of all of the awful takes and theories and ideas that I've had about this book, the fact that I thought Dunsmith was evil, and I'm not talking like, oh, he's a bad guy. Like, I truly was like, no, he's evil. When I was like 10 chapters in, and I was like, fuck this guy. Little did I know that was gonna be one of my favorite characters. And I mourn him every day. So. That's fine. No, I don't want to talk about the cocoons anymore. So bad. The gigantic silver snake looked down at Audrey and opened its blood-red mouth. A sequence one potion of Zeratul, the leader of the secret order consumed, came from the attendant of mysteries. In other words, he possesses the extra miracle invoker characteristic. Oh my god, when I said that Dally and Garamond Sparrow would make a cute couple. Yeah. Similarly, it was the same for the ancestors of the Antigonus. And you know what? You know what? And the funniest thing is that's not even my worst, like, shipping take of, like, people I pair together. Because there it is. I also ship Alger and Emlyn. Chat, which one's worse? Dally and Garamond Sparrow or Alger and Emlyn? Honest take. Similarly, it was the same for the ancestor of the Antigonus family back then. No, dude, I might do it. I'm still gonna Get me deleted. No, I have to log in. I can't be laughing anymore. I heard they had a candidate who had won the favor of the family to the point of them being willing to nurture them. Then an angel with sufficient high status can separate the extra miracle invoker beyonder characteristic to the party. The third miracle invoker beyonder characteristic had combined the characteristic of mystery origins. It had become sealed artifact. Oh shit, yo, lock in. We're learning about a new sealed artifact. Everybody quiet. Quiet in the chat. Beyond characteristics on the other party. The third miracle invoker's beyond characteristic had combined with the characteristic of mysterious origins. It has become sealed artifact 0-05, also known as magic wishing lamp. The true deity once attempted to destroy this item to separate the characteristics and allow them to converge automatically, but eventually failed. The fourth and fifth miracle invoker beyond a characteristic from the form of grade 0 sealed artifact that exists in the churches of Eternal Blazing Sun and Lord of Storms. One of them is named 0-13. It comes from the third epoch's creator designed as Last Banquet. The other is codenamed 0-32, the product of the War of the Four Emperors, designed as the water curtains that never draw. The sixth miracle invoker beyond a characteristic might be the Forsaken Land of Gods during the Third Epoch. There was a remnant dark demonic wolf who occasionally appeared after the cataclysm. He vanished without a trace. Audrey listened attentively and thought carefully for a moment before saying, "You're saying that under the situation where the attendant of mystery spots are filled, that are only 6 miracle invokers? And now you only mention the secret order's leader Zeratul and the ancestor of the Antigonus family, but the spots don't seem to be filled. In such a situation, there might be an extra miracle invoker beyond a characteristic." This wasn't information that the world Garamond Sparrow had informed her of in advance. Instead, it was the question of Audrey had come up with on her own according to the details of the answer and her knowledge of mysticism. The eyes of the giant silver snake moved slightly. Indeed, there should be 3 attendants of mysteries. But in the second epoch, in the era where the ancient god Phlegreus still lived, the third set of attendant of mysteries beyond a characteristic seemed to have disappeared without a trace. No one knows where it is. Likewise for the corresponding miracle invoker beyond a characteristic. Perhaps it is already combined together and has found a sufficiently concealed method to hide itself. Oh my god, what happened? Audrey nodded gently and said, I understand. I'll pass on the information to Mr. Dwayne Dantes. Oh, he even asked me to ask you if there's anything you need his help with. The giant silver snake slithered up, and the third of its body stood up. No, a small matter. Yes, I have a blessed who is an outstanding gourmet. He has a desire to taste ice cream from the various noble families so as to determine the most delicious one. This request, Mr. Snake, maybe it's Ma'am Snake, is really nice to her blessed. His tone is as if he can't wait. This is too simple. I can agree to help on Mr. World's behalf and complete it on my own. I'll just repeat it as accumulating the sufficient contribution seed to exchange the potion formula. Audrey said thoughtfully, no problem. But how do I send him the ice cream? The giant silver snake slowly coiled and said, sacrifice it to him. He's already a sequence 3 saint and can accept sacrifices in the same city. His honorific name is the embodiment of luck, the clairvoyant monster, the calamity that spreads misfortune, the witness of all fates in Backland, the keeper of chaos and madness. There's a difference between this honorific name and the normal 3 sequence 3s. There's no name at the end. Audrey's eyes darted around slightly, but she didn't say anything further and nodded in agreement. Keeper of chaos and madness. Will's last honorific name is quite interesting. This shouldn't be an honorific name of the Snake of Fate, but something that he used when he was at Sequence 3. Some tweaks were made later on. The Monster Pathways watchers over chaos and madness, or could it be said that in this world, even for fate, those at a lower sequence aren't in chaos and madness. Monsters are working hard to resist all of this, making everything seem normal. After Klein heard Miss Justice's answer, he didn't find it odd for Will accepted to request for ice cream. Instead, he found an honorific name of the Life School of Thought president rather interesting. Having a bless, that's like saying I know someone. Did Will learn this from me? No, I have a real blessed, Donitz. Later on, I'll have a fellow sacrifice something for me to eat. I can't really eat those mutated monsters or summon projections from the historical void, right? Yes, if I have a chance, I'll invite little son to try them together. I can let him be obsessed with Frank's mushrooms. The number of blessed serving Will definitely won't be less than mine. There might even be more. He has a huge life school of thought. Klein conjured the world, Gammon Sparrow, and made him reply to Miss Justice, indicating that the ice cream contributed plenty. After completing all of this, he wrapped the edge of the long bronze molded table and seriously considered the problem with the main ingredients of the Miracle Invoker. There's no need to think about the Miracle Invoker beyond a characteristic with Zerto. It's impossible for him to separate it to give it to me. He only wants to turn me into his marionette. It's not like there's zero hope with Antigonus 2 portions, but if that's the case, I'll have to request it from the goddess again. I can't offer something equivalent, I'm afraid. Besides, the goddess might not be able to provide it. The reason why she wants to seal the half-fool who has lost control is probably because she is unable to kill him. Once he is killed, he will be able to escape his current predicament and revive somewhere else. Just how I escaped from Amon. Under such situation, the goddess has no way of getting Antigonus to separate the Miracle Invoker beyond a characteristic. Even a true deity can shadow 0-05, so there's no point in targeting it unless it's useless even if I have it. The sealed artifact's origins are truly mysterious. There's something very fishy about it. The Church of Eternal Blazing Sun, 0-13, is called the Last Banquet. It comes from the city of Silver's crater. Why does the person always... Is that like the Last Supper? Always like to use the names that have dangerous implications. The Church of Lord of Storms is 0-32, and the... is theater with curtains that never draw. Just the sound of it allows me to imagine what it's like. The chance of obtaining these 2 grade 0 sealed artifacts are very low, but it's not impossible. It just depends on whether the Eternal Blazing Sun and Lord of Storms are willing to support my growth so as to contain him on. Yes, up to now, they have yet to show any kindness. I can't find a suitable way to interact with the right person. I can't possibly use divination to spy on the Eternal Blazing Sun again and communicate with him through space, right? If that happens, wouldn't it be better if he directly invades Sephra Castle and takes control of this place? If I were to nurture Mr. Hangman and wait until he has the qualifications to come in contact with the Grade 0 sealed artifact, I most likely have become Amon. The true creator knows a clue, the 3rd characteristic of the Intendant of Mysteries. His divine kingdom and holy residence are the Forsaken Land of the Gods. These 2 might be related somehow. These two sets of Miracle Invoker characteristics and the Attendant of Mysteries characteristics are highly likely to be the Forsaken Land of the Gods. I wonder which one of these Noise ruins. Yes, the true creator should only know a clue and not its exact location, otherwise he would have obtained the Attendant of Mysteries beyond a characteristic before the War of the Four Emperors and efficiently increased his subordinate strength. In other words, the Attendant of Mysteries beyond a characteristic is something even a true deity can't obtain quickly, and it's necessary to search for it. It might not be so easy for Amon to come across it, allowing him to set up a trap. If the danger within the ruins were only recently found, having just been transplanted, it would match his trait. From the looks of it, I still have to make a trip. However, I have to be careful enough. The danger comes from Amon and also from the ruins. I'll do a divination first. Then I'll observe the gathering intelligence from the distance. I won't enter blindly, and I'll be patient enough. Klein conjured a pen and paper and was about to write the corresponding divination statement when he suddenly thought of something and decided to make another confirmation. He drew a complicated symbol and a mixture of concealment and mystery prying. He threw it into the crimson star representing the magician. With Gammon Sparrow's image and tone, he asked her in a question of Rhodes. Backlund, Eastborough Fours, who was about to move houses, drew a curtain and lit a candle. She sat at the mirror and found Shio act as a bystander. She then drew the symbol that Mr. World had given to her. In the room, the environment gradually turned dark and cold winds swirled, causing the two to tremble. Not the music I was expecting, but it's giving like early 2000s Wii. Like I'm about to get really fucked up by that one guy in boxing. The surface of the mirror suddenly rippled, forming a... Oh my god, they're talking to a Rhodes! Forming ancient, dark red face-like text. You have summoned the great Erodes. You have to abide by the corresponding rules. You have to answer a question for every question asked. If you lie or refuse, you will be punished. Oh my god, are we gonna get some good Erodes questions? Some like OG nasty Erodes questions? I'm so excited. Oh my god. Alright, fours who have been warned calmly replied. Following that, she asked curiously, where can one obtain the main ingredients of Miracle Invoker Potion? On the surface of the mirror, dark red words appeared, one after another, as the lines vanished. They answered the question in detail. It's basically the same as Will's answer. Above the great fog, through the crimson star representing Miss Magician, Klein watched the specific process and nodded in disappointment. After Fours memorized the answer, she said nervously, it's your turn to ask. Oh, she messy. The dark red words change and form a new sentence. Have you had an erotic dream in the past year? Thankfully, it's still okay. Forrest heaved a sigh of relief and said, yes. I can't even blame her. I can't even blame her because we all know who she had that dream about. We all know who she was having that dream about. And I can't even blame the girl. I can't. You know? Pot calling the kettle black. This was human nature. She didn't feel that there were anything to be ashamed of. Period. Love that. Following that, she raised a second question. Do you have any suggestions on the matter regarding obtaining the main ingredients of Miracle Invoker? Rhodes dispersed the dark red text and used the silver colors to form a new word. The Abraham family still holds the Apprentice Pathway Sequence 2 Planeswalker Potion Formula as well as the corresponding powerful sealed artifacts and a total of 2 of them. The Aurora Order also has one. This, Klein's eyes lit up as the thought of a new possibility. Is that though? Forrest frowned slightly and said, it's your turn to ask another question. The silver color on the surface of the mirror faded away as the dark red colors formed a sentence. Other than you, who else was this? Who else was the star of your erotic dream? Forrest gaped as her face flushed red. No! Okay, good. I was like, I bet, do not leave a girl hanging. I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. Like, I already know who it is. At that moment, Forrest felt her cheeks burning and stiffened as she didn't dare to turn her head to look at her friend. She didn't dare to look at her friend. She realized that she had severely underestimated the bottom line of Magic Mirror. After stuttering for a moment, Forrest recalled Mr. World's reminder and closed her eyes. I choose to accept the... Hold up! Here's the thing, because I never know how far it's gonna go, but there is two possibilities. There is two possibilities of who this dream is about. And I'm starting a rumor. Computer, good work. A silver white bolt of lightning fell from the air in the room, but the moment it appeared, the lightning vanished without a trace like it was a hallucination. The dark red words on the surface of the mirror were dyed as silvers. They were quickly replaced with a new content. The question and answer game will end here today. Goodbye! Without waiting for Forrest to open her eyes and before Shio could react, a rippling light in the mirror instantly calmed down. The gloom and darkness of the room shattered as they were swallowed by the light of the candle. Wasn't there supposed to be punishment? Forrest waited for a few seconds before opening her eyes slightly. She looked at the mirror that had... No, because that's what I'm saying! Here's the thing. You know that Forrest gets down like that. You know. Maybe it was both. Maybe it was both. And I love that for her. Truly. She looked at the mirror and had returned to the normal and then no, the closet isn't even there. It's literally just an indent in the wall that she throws stuff into. It's not even a closet. Let's be fucking for real here. That second bedroom is a spare bedroom, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Do I think that Garamond Sparrow might have also been in the dream? Yes. Do I know that Shio was in that dream? Yes. It just depends on if they both were. Said it was the fool. Here's the thing, a man in power though, you can have crazy dreams. She looked at them. Wasn't there supposed to be a punishment? Forrest waited for a few seconds before opening her eyes slightly. She looked at the mirror and returned to normal, then Shio was watching by the sidelines. Shio pointed to the top of her head and said, "There was lightning that smote you, but it disappeared halfway. Also, the magic mirror's already left." The magic mirror was only joking. That's not right. I was awarding a receipt. The question would be rather embarrassing, and the punishment would be rather heavy. Could it be that Mr. Fool protected me? Is that what he did in the dream, Forrest? Was he protecting you? Forrest rubbed her right cheek as she made a guess. Perhaps. Shio nodded in agreement with her friend. Just as Forrest heaved a sigh of relief and rejoiced, she suddenly realized that Shio was looking at her earnestly. What's the matter? Forrest's heart skipped a beat. Shio asked thoughtfully, "In that erotic dream of yours, who was the main lead?" Who would remember such a dream from so long ago? Besides, aren't dreams blurry and unclear? Forrest forced a smile. Shio tersely acknowledged. If that's the case, why didn't you answer with that just now? I was nervous. I was too nervous. Forrest glanced at the luggage as she was... No, because here's the thing. If it was Garamond Sparrow and you're with your best friend, you're gonna be yapping. You're gonna be kikiing about it. You're gonna be like, oh my god, girl, it was Garamond Sparrow. It was the world. It was Shio. This is not even me trying to like push an agenda, because no, as a woman, if you're like, no, I don't want to tell you, it's that person. It's time for us to move. I miss having a fireplace. As she spoke, she walked towards her luggage. It was only at this moment that she realized that at times the outcome was similar whether she answered the magic mirror question or not. Is this the social death that was mentioned by Garamond Sparrow? I really want to bury my head into the ground. Forrest continuously took deep breaths in an attempt to calm her burning face and embarrassing heart. Here's the thing. Okay. Scene's done. We're back in the ancient palace. It was Shio. You cannot convince me that it wasn't. I think maybe Garamond Sparrow was there, but you don't act that way if you're like not with the person that you had the dream about. Or it's both. That's what I'm saying. He might have been there, but she was definitely there. Why isn't the music loading? I know the Fool was the most important person today. Here's the thing, it also could have been the Fool. It also could have been the Fool. Which, I'm not gonna blame her. I'm not gonna blame her. That's a long table. Play the music. There you go, I got it. I mean, hey, it's probably gonna be the least unholy thing that's happened there. In the ancient place above the great fog, climb through a sea god scepter, back into the junk pile, and then scoffed at a rose's act. Despite knowing that it was the one who Don't even with me. This is when the internet was made for. I mean, I don't know about your internet, but my computer, she's always got my back. Despite knowing that I was the one who sent something to summon it, it actually dared to raise such a question. Only when I stopped the punishment did it hurriedly change its attitude and leave in a panic. It sure had fun. No, Klein, let a Rhodes have some fun. Because here's the thing, Klein's like, don't do that. It's like you know when a dog, like, you know when like a dog's misbehaving and you like spray water at it, or a cat's misbehaving and you spray water at it? Let my girl have some fun. She just wants to stir the pot. Here's the thing, if I was Klein, I'm a nosy bitch. I'd be like, hey, or yeah, boy, whatever a Rhodes is, whatever they identify as. If I was Klein, I'm a nosy bitch, and I see those questions asked, guess what? I'm whispering to Forrest another question for her to ask. And then I'm whispering to her Rhodes, dig deeper. Find out what it is. Because now Forrest knows how bad it hurts. And now I'm like, I want to know. I want to know the dirt. I want to know the tea. I want to know who you're getting bent over on that table. However, Dan's answer has given me a new train of thought. I really don't need to restrict myself to the path of Miracle Invoker. The saying in Blasphemy Slain is most likely from the city creator and is now in the hands of Adam. Although Amon and his brothers were mutually staying away from each other's affairs and aren't on especially good terms, they have worked together before. I don't believe that. He has never... Okay, we're moving on from it. We're back in the Great Fog. If that's the case, he is definitely aware of the Miracle Invoker's ritual and can guess that I'll be bringing the City of Silver out of the Forsaken Land of the Gods. When that happens, he wouldn't need to put much effort into tracking me. He just needs to wait at the Giant King's court. Yes, I can't go according to the enemy's expeditions, especially since this is God of deceit and God of mischief. Countless accidents will happen. It's because of the participation that the City of Silver's thousands of years of hopes end up being destroyed, then it'll be completely contradictory to my original intentions. The problem with the Planeswalker is that I might hear Mr. Door's ravings and will suffer the scrutiny and corruption from the cosmos. That's worse than Sequence 2 angels from the other pathways. Of course, this isn't completely unacceptable. Also, will I need to pay back the 2 resurrection chances that Sephra Castle gave me? That's still fine, since I'll definitely transfer back to being an attendant of mysteries at Sequence 1, because Mr. Door has already blocked off the advancement path of the apprentice pathway. He is at least in control of the uniqueness of the 2 sets of Sequence 1 bionic characteristics, perhaps even all 3. This is a family show, y'all. Keep it in. Reel it in. Be professional. Grow up. Grow up! It's not necessary for me to switch to planes, but I have to make the necessary preparations when my operation increase, even if... Not me looking down and seeing Nagito, can y'all not fuck the mirror? I mean, pee my pants is the funniest fucking thing in the world. No, bro, okay, here's the thing. I've read 4 chapters and it's already been over 75 minutes. This is giving this is giving like volume 3 flashbacks. I need to lock in. The problem with the Planeswalker is that I might hear Mr. Door's ravings and will suffer the scrutiny and corruption from the cosmos that's worse than Sequence 2 angels from the other pathways. Of course, this isn't completely unacceptable. Also, well, I need to pay back to the two resurrection chances that Saffron Castle gave me. That's still fine, since I'll definitely transfer back to being an attendant of mysteries. Because Mr. Door has already blocked out the advancement path of the apprentice pathway. He is at least in control of the uniqueness of the 2 sets of Sequence 1 Bionic characteristics, perhaps even all 3. It's not necessary for me to switch to Planeswalker, but I have to make the necessary preparations. Where's my option increase, even if Amon tries to stop me? Not Kami turning it on slow mode. Here's the problem. The one with the biggest mouth is the one that doesn't shut up. So it doesn't matter how slow you make chat. The root of all problems is the one that still just talks. But I have to make the necessary preparations. When my options increase, even if Amon tries to stop me, the difficulty of burying a trap in advance will increase significantly. Only then can I become an angel while under pressure of the King of Angels. Yes, I'll stay on the fence for now. I'll prepare the Miracle Invoker advancement while prepping for the Planeswalker advancement. I'll determine which pathway to take based on the actual situation when the time comes. Having come to a decision, Klein felt refreshed. His mind was abnormally active, and he quickly came up with preliminary plans. I'm not in a hurry to ask Miss Magician teacher about the Planeswalker potion formula or the corresponding grade 0 sealed artifacts. This will scare the Abraham family, making them suspect that Miss Magician worships some evil god and has joined some terrible organization. With their current situation, there's a high chance that they won't reply. They will change their identities, move, and sever all ties. Yes, the head of the Saint of Secrets, Bodis, will make a fine gift. Regardless of whether the Abraham family gives the Worm of Cosmos, this matter will have to be placed on the agenda. I hope Miss Justice can digest the Dreamwalker potion as soon as possible. I hope that Ma'am Hermit will be prepared. I also hope that the 2 ladies, Miss Magician and Miss Judgment, will be able to improve before the operation. Right. According to what Miss Magician said, Saint of Secrets Bodis is defector of the Abraham family and the Royal Order holds a grade 0 sealed artifact of the Apprentice pathway. That's interesting. Perhaps I don't need to contact the Abraham family. I might be able to get what I want from the Saint of Secrets. I have to remind Ma'am Hermit that Bodis might be carrying a grade 0 sealed artifact, so confirmation has to be made before the operation. If that grade 0 sealed artifact isn't in the hands of Saint of Secrets, then I'll probably have to face the Angel of Fate, Aurora Boris, to get it. No, grade 0 sealed artifacts are terrifying to begin with. It's one of the sources of danger. I'll first wait for Miss Magician's teacher to reply to see if the Abraham family is adverse to any mentions of the Worm of Cosmos. As he thought of this, Klein suddenly felt a hint of self-deprecation. He felt that he and the Aurora Order appeared to be destined enemies. They often had all kinds of interactions. When the operations begin, the Aurora Order will definitely shout in their heads, "Why is it you again? Why is it us again?" After letting out a breath, he gathered his thoughts and conjured the world Garamond Sparrow. He replied to Miss Messenger, or Miss Magician, who had reported the answer. Following that, the world prayed once again. He requested Mr. Fool to forward his request to Donitz. On a certain island in the fog sea, Donitz, by Merlin, Donitz, who was waiting for the golden dream, turned his head to look at Anderson and chuckled. I'm going to summon Gammon Sparrow's messenger. Anderson pricked up his brows and scoffed. You're qualified to consume the Conspirer potion. You were the one who made it too obvious, even if I sensed that you were afraid of the messenger. Donitz felt even more pleased with himself as he said humbly. Anderson suddenly scoffed. Why do you suspect that I'm pretending to be afraid? I'm trying to find a reasonable excuse to avoid hearing things I shouldn't be hearing. Dog shit. Do you think I'll believe the lies you came up with in a hurry? Donitz was almost convinced. Anderson spread his hands and walked to the door. You've gathered all the materials of the Conspirer potion. Remember to remind Gammon Sparrow not to forget my iron-blooded knight potion formula. Donitz waved his hands impatiently, indicating that he hadn't forgotten. After Anderson walked out of the room and closed the door, Donitz immediately set up the ritual and summoned the messenger, holding 4 blonde, red-eyed heads. Seeming the 8 eyes looked over at the same time, Donitz's chest immediately retracted. He forced a smile and handed out a gold coin. Ma'am, Gammon Sparrow wants me to tell you that he's fine. He's now in the Forsaken Land of the Gods. Wait, what did he say? The Forsaken Land of the Gods? As a crew member of Vice Admiral Iceberg, Donitz's knowledge of mysticism was still adequate. After a momentary pause, his pupils clearly dilated. All right. Brunette Tinker bit down on the gold coin and answered immediately. Then she entered the void and vanished from the room. After reporting this to Gammon Sparrow, Donitz received the Iron Blood Knight potion formula and new orders. Prepare some local delicacies and sacrifice them to the sea god Calvatua. Isn't this message a little odd? Donitz muttered to himself, but he didn't dare to raise any question. Bro, Klein's hungry. Boy gotta eat. And he ain't eating mushrooms. He quickly tidied up the altar found in parchment and wrote down the supplementary ingredient corresponding ritual to the Iron Blood Knight potion formula. Following that, he opened the door and handed the parchment to Anderson. Form a team of at least 30 people. The stronger the team's strength and chemistry, the better the ritual's effects. Anderson unfolded the parchment in front of Donitz and read it. As he read, his brows gently furrowed. If the team's chemistry is to build upon the idea of killing me, the captain, the ritual is rather simple. Without waiting for Donitz to mock him, the burning white flame appeared from his fingertips and burned the parchment. Anderson chuckled. I need to go back to my homeland to find an opportunity. That place is currently being invaded by Painter Potter, and the war is always a best place for building up and training a team. With a pause, he looked at Donitz and said with a smile, I've prepared some questions for you. They're in my room. Once you become a conspirer, you can try doing it and see if your intelligence has improved. Dog shit. Are you trying to trick me into reading all of the books in your room? Donitz was almost moved, but he immediately understood that something was wrong. No matter how high his intelligence was, he wouldn't be able to solve the questions even if he had read the textbooks. Not bad. It only took you 3 seconds this time to grasp the crux of the matter. If it were in the past, you would have really believed me. Anderson praised with a smile as he turned around and left the inn. Oh my god, no! They're breaking up the boys? Just let the boys go on adventures together. Just let the boys go on adventures together. That's all I want. Also, I don't know which one of y'all asked, if I'm done or if I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. I have no reason to stop tonight, so I'll just keep going. If you want to stay, you can also stay. If you want to go, you can also go. That's all. That's all. I was also told to look at the general chat. Okay, I guess freaking not, because it's not working. No, did stream immediately die? Did it immediately die? Did it immediately die? As I... Okay, it's back. It's back. It's back. It's back. Oh my god. No, Stan was here. Stan, you were like one of the 3rd people that came in. Were you not? I swear I saw you here earlier. Or did you leave? Oh. Fucking Red's here. Next stopping point is 86. Okay, well, we'll stop at 86 then. No, Red, don't leave. I was only kidding. 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 Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. Sorry, I feel okay. Funny. Funny, 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 funny. I just saw it. Oh, look who decided to show up. Okay, bye. Have fun walking your dog. Look who decided to show up, Wiz. I also want to say, here's the thing. I also want to say, I rewatched the stream, not the stream, but like a little portion of the stream when I found out about Chernobyl. And I saw the comment that Wiz made, where he made a comment and he was like, is it just me or is she balding even more? First off, rude. Super rude. In the first... I can't come to your streams. Do a stream of something that I've already read. Then I can come. Until then. Chris, I'm not balding. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about my forehead. Is it true that you could project an IMAX level sized movie on my forehead if you really wanted to and were in a pinch? Yes. Is it also true that I have been compared to KSI? Also yes. However, it's not that big. Don't do that. I read stuff that's safe for work. I mean, oh my god, Wiz, you should read Fourth Wing though. Side note, Wiz, read Fourth Wing. I'll come to that stream. That would be funny as fuck. Listening to you read Zayden Ryerson's dialogue. With that little bitch voice of yours. In the forsaken land of the gods at night, when the frequency of lightning had dropped to a very low frequency, 2 slices of white bread and a piece of barbecue meat is pretty good after all. The sweet and sour desserts from the fog sea are better than I had expected. After swallowing the last mouthful of food, Klein sighed in amazement from the bottom of his heart. He then threw the remaining packaging into the darkness. After all... Bye, Louvre. He threw the remaining packaging into the darkness. After all, there was no concept of environmental protection here, nor was there a rubbish bin. Of course, he had removed his connection to those items ahead of time. Just like how he was head over heels a step for Castle to perform sterilization every time he had abandoned the marionette. Every time... Wiz, sometimes you talk and I genuinely question whether you hit puberty properly. Like, I genuinely sometimes wonder if one of your balls didn't drop. And it's just up there. Every time he had abandoned a marionette, this was to prevent a moth's avatar from locking onto him with them. Life objects won't be transferred under concealed state. By the darkness here. Klein raised a lantern that Donitz had sacrificed, and he illuminated the abandoned items. It was only after he filled his stomach he was in the mood to try out the dangerous thing he had previously divined. Bro, that's why my voice is so deep. I got the ball that you're missing. That's actually what happened. God was like, nope. We're gonna make him sound like a 12-year-old pubescent boy. And we're gonna give it to her. Amidst the flickering, dim yellow light, Klein tracked his right hand out of the air and dragged out another projection of himself. It was another version of him from the historical void, one who was also holding onto a lantern. Klein entered a grayish-white fog 1 second later, allowing his projection's consciousness to awake. The projection was surrounded by a group of monsters. Amidst the endless darkness, it opened its mouth, planning to recite the name Amanices. He didn't manage to make a single sound, as though the words he wanted to say had been concealed. Indeed, as I expected, wearing a silk top hat and a black trench coat, Klein slowly took a deep breath. Looking at the lantern that emitted faint yellow light, he suddenly chanted in Jotun, Leodero. Before he could finish his sentence, more than 100 lightning bolts warped, as if they were responding to being summoned. They instantly blanketed the area. There was no time for him to dodge. Even if it was switch places with a marionette, it would still be within the attack range. Amidst the brightening of silver-white lights, he collapsed to the ground. His body was charred with the, oh my god, as he convulsed violently, as though he had become a gigantic piece of coal. Jesus. Then his figure rapidly dissipated to the illusion vanished. Wearing a real top hat, clothed in into-style windbreaker, and carrying a simple lantern, Klein immediately returned to the reality and continued proceeding forward as if nothing had happened. After walking for a while, his figure suddenly turned blurry and clear. Following that, Klein opened his mouth and read out a name in Jotun. Ah. Just as he pronounced the first syllable, a transparent flame burst from his body, instantly reducing him to ash, not giving him a chance to switch places with the marionette. Klein appeared once again as he pressed his hat and weakly calmed and filled his strange plants. Harabergen. Bad Hill. Almabella. There's nothing out of the ordinary. There's no traces of corresponding divine powers left in the vicinity of the City of Silver. What's the meme? Medici, Ouroboros, Sasri. These are of no use. Neither one of them are deities. I thought that the situation in Afternoon Town in the Giant King's court was due to a special circumstance. Using Sasri's true name outside can activate the powers of the degeneration. I don't know why I always say degradation. Degeneration from the forsaken land of the gods. As a king of angels with the uniqueness, Red Angel is also considered half a true god. Yet there aren't any traces of him. How shameful for a person. No, shameful for a king of angels. As Klein walked down the hill, he followed spiritual intuition and headed northwest for the city ruins of Neuswer. He would occasionally take a detour, occasionally using flaming jump, and he didn't follow the route the City of Silver had used to explore their destination. Back then, late at night. Feeling that she had digested the potion a little more, Audrey felt eagerly used dream traversal to leave her mansion and enter the various streams of surrounding areas. Knowing that the current situation was like, she had a strong desire to become a demigod. Just like that, she suddenly saw someone familiar. This was an old lady who had a good relationship with her. She was 29 years old and had married a viscount 2 years ago. At this moment, the lady's room was filled with rose petals, the bed was white, and there was a heart-shaped ring placed on it. And she couldn't bear knocking sounds from the outside. With flushed cheeks, the lady quickly walked over and opened the window. The man wearing the black iron mask and the dark cloak leaped and hugged the lady and whispered, "I'll take you away from your suffering." Then the two of them started... This was actually just a recreation of Forrest Dreams. Then the two of them started to wrap their bodies around one another as they rolled into bed. Oh my gosh. As the dreamwalker who was working hard to adjust the potion, Audrey had long seen similar scenes. She had experienced the phase of feeling embarrassed, and she sighed at how everyone's dreams were full of imagination. At that moment, she didn't lose her composure at all. She maintained the etiquette of a spectator as though she was witnessing an overall intense play. They are playing, I will tell you that. After a brief examination, she discovered a problem. The man wearing the black iron mask wasn't the wife's spouse. Oh my god, tell me more! But more like a particular playboy. Is it Dwayne Dantes? Particular playboy of the aristocratic circles. Oh no, it's not. Is this a reflection of what's hidden in her heart? Audrey muttered to herself in an ancient manner while analyzing the dream, following that she traversed into the dream beside her out of curiosity. The dream considered a noble wife's husband. The Viscount! Oh my gosh! In the dream, the Viscount was busy attending a discussion at the House of Lords. Later, he was chased by an earl with a revolver. The latter claimed that he had tricked his daughter. After escaping a safe zone, the Viscount found his female secretary to vent his fears. Did he sleep with the secretary? Audrey couldn't help but leave the dream. No, Audrey, go back to the dream! Wanting to see the state of the Viscount and his wife were in. In the bedroom under the illumination of crimson moonlight, the Viscount was hugging his wife on a huge white bed. His wife was hugging him and sleeping in a very intimate manner. Little do they both know. Yes, I have to realize that everyone has a dark side to them. It's just a dream that they've had. If conviction for a mere instantaneous thought was carried out, then everyone would descend into hell, and no one would be spared, including myself. I can control my dark side, preventing it from ever being realized in the real world. To most people, that's already considered excellent. Audrey increasingly felt that acting as a dreamwalker... Boring! Acting as a dreamwalker is a way to question and hone one's mind and body. She entered the dreamscape again and traversed to another area. Not long after, she arrived in a warm room. This was the dining table placed over a thick carpet. At the seat of honor was a white-haired old lady. To her side was a middle-aged couple with 3 children who were not of age. They were all enjoying a delicious food, chatting and laughing. It was dark outside the room, and the strong winds made a glass groan. And thump as they seemed to brew a horrifying sensation before the disaster struck. What is the owner of this dream bothered about? Audrey retreated from the dream and tried to find an answer from the real world to verify her hypothesis. She then saw a small bed with a white-haired old lady. There was a photo framed on the bedside table, and the old lady. They were either wrapped in black cloth and white flowers, considering the middle-aged couple and 3 underage children. Audrey silently turned her head and looked out the window, only to see that there were ruins nearby, one left behind by an explosion. The young, noble lady pursed her lips and suddenly returned to the old lady's dream. She didn't stop the disaster that might happen. She only conjured the chair and sat on it. She looked at the happy and warm family in a solemn manner. Amidst the howling wind and glass, the room was brightly lit. There was a fragrance of food and laughter everywhere. Audrey already concluded that one of the acting principles of Dreamwalker, a traveler of a dream enters, takes in the sights, and records, never interfering. That was a spectator. In St. Simon Cathedral, dude, honestly, I might want to be a spectator pathway. Because could you imagine just, oh my god, the amount of tea you would get, and you would just like watch, and then you'd be like, oh, okay. Oh my god, it'd be so entertaining. It'd be so good. And here's the thing, I feel like Adam is also, here's the thing. Adam strikes me as one of the girlies, you know? Like, I feel like he's clocking everyone's tea. And he's just kind of like watching. And he's judging too. Adam is a judgy bitch. I don't even need to read anything more about him, and I know that he is a judgy bitch. And I know that he is watching everybody and clocking all their tea, and I want to be his best friend. I don't care if he's evil or if he's good. I want to be his best friend, and I just want to watch with him. And then we can judge over, like, brunch. In St. Simon Cathedral, having been summoned by Bishop Anthony Stevens, Leonard slowly walked up the spiral staircase under the sunlight that shone in through the stained glass. I make it to sequence 9 and I lose control. I would make it to sequence 9 and I would lose control. My first attempt at becoming a Beyonder. I'm not making it. Suddenly he said with a surprised voice, "Old man, I'm not slandering Adam, no, I'm actually giving that man really high praise. Because I know he would be such a girly. Okay, I might make it to sequence 8, but I'm losing control either during the process of becoming a sequence 8, like while I'm digesting the potion, or I'd say a week in. Suddenly he said with his suppressed voice, "Old man, that secret gathering is about to begin again. Are you really planning on attempting to enter the treasures left behind by the Jacob family at the end of the month?" "Hi, Alma." "I'm not sure yet, but this is an opportunity. At the very least, Amon's main body is being tied down.
By the matter regarding Sephra Castle, he won't suddenly appear. In Leonard's mind, Palazoris replied with a slightly hoarse voice. However, I'm more inclined to reveal the news of the treasure trove. I want the people of the gathering to adventure and explore. We'll stay in the vicinity and observe the situation, taking what I need from their hands. Leonard was taken aback as he whispered, "Old man, isn't that too sinister?" This was using the members of the Hermits of Fate as tools to set up in a trap. Naive, childish. Oh my god. Naive, childish. You can tell them all the details and let them decide whether they want to go on their own. Pallas scoffed. Leonard didn't mention it again and said, he asked, "Old man, when can I become a demigod?" Pallas struggled. That man laughed in your face. Leonard uttered the word demigod and Pallas laughed in his face and said, "Child, please. If you can obtain the spirit of the level of your former colleague's messenger, you'll be able to digest the potion by the beginning of next year. However," I did laugh. "It's better to act according to my instructions. Engage in deeper level of acting. Wait till the second half of next year. You'll have the qualifications to try for sequence 4. Of course, I'm not sure if the Church of Evernight will give you the potion and hold a ritual for you. That high-ranking deacon named Sesemir Chestnut, I can't read his name right now, had to wait several years before he truly became a demigod. When war truly broke out, did he?" Leonard nodded and asked thoughtfully, "Old man, can you act as a spirit to help me digest the potion? Your level should be higher than Klein's messenger." Palazoris fell silent for a few seconds before he laughed in his face again. "What a great idea. How about I help you digest the potion?" "How?" Leonard knew the old man was mocking him. At least we're self-aware. But he couldn't help but ask. "I'll deeply parasitize you, gaining full control." I'll deeply parasitize you, gaining full control over your body." Pallas snapped back. As he spoke, Leonard came to the door of the Backland Diocese Archbishop. He immediately shut his mouth and raised his right hand to knock on the door. I'm just gonna hide the chat. I'm not gonna look at chat for a minute. I'm just gonna hide it. Whenever I see... So I'm not looking at chat, so don't expect much from me. Whenever I see Cammy say code red, or Naito say code red, I know that somebody's about to fuck my shit. As he spoke, Leonard came to the door of the Backland Diocese Archbishop. He immediately shut his mouth and raised his right hand to knock on the door. "Come in." Anthony Stephen glanced at Leonard, who was opened the door. "You can release the vampire behind Channis Gate." Oh, are they finally gonna release Emlyn? Are they finally gonna let my boy out? Free my boy, he ain't do nothing. Upon hearing the bishop's instructions, Leonard was first taken aback before he inwardly sighed. Mr. Fool's prophecy was really accurate. No, it's not a prophecy. He was already aware of everything. Leonard quickly reined in his thoughts and followed the procedures to get Bishop St. Anthony to give him an unofficial document. Then he returned underground and brought 2 members into Channis Gate. After waiting for the keepers to check the documents, he came to Emlyn White's room, which was illuminated by the shining silver candles that were covered in engraved patterns. He opened the heavy stone doors with a brass key. Ghostly blue light entered the cell, stabbing Emlyn White's eyes to the point of him instinctively closing them. His face was much paler than before, and his body was much thinner. He exuded the feeling of a ghast, and wind would lift him up at any moment. Thinking Mr. Fool's answers, Emlyn suddenly felt confident in his current situation. Without opening his eyes, he slowly stood up and chuckled. "I knew you would take the initiative to send me out. Would you be disappointed if I said that it was just a routine investigation?" Leonard lampooned inwardly and replied without any expression. "I'll give you 30 seconds. If you don't leave Channis Gate within this period, I'll take it into the voluntarily choosing to stay behind." As a slightly more senior Nighthawk and captain of the Red Gloves team for several months, Leonard had reached experience in dealing with prisoners. Emlyn's expression froze. He opened his mouth, waiting to say something, but he ultimately maintained his silence. He walked past Leonard with his two teammates and walked out of Channa's gate. Outside, and suddenly shuddered as if he wanted to purge the chill in his body. Once you return, getting some sunlight would fix you up. Oh, the sun is a rare commodity in Backland winter, and you vampires don't enjoy sunbathing. Aren't you an apothecary? You can concoct some medicine from the sun domain yourself? Seeing this, Leonard casually reminded him. Emlyn's condition wasn't the best. On the one hand, he hadn't drunk any spirituality containing human blood for days. He could only rely on the blood of animals in a substitute. On the other hand, it was because he stayed behind Channa's gate for too long. The power of the Evernight that supported the seal had eaten him a little, making him require the effects of medicine in the sun domain to remove the residual effects. Damn. Oh my god, where was I? As a potions professor, Emlyn was aware that the physician and the physical and mental condition. He didn't retort or nod. He only emphasized the word sanguine before asking, "Where's Father Utrovsky?" "He still needs to stay a little longer. I hope this bloody war will end soon. Don't worry, we'll let him come out twice a week to get some sunlight. As for which days they'll be, it'll depend on the weather in Backland." Leonard gave a simple response before sending Emlyn to the ground and onto the streets. Emlyn hesitated for a moment before asking again, "Where's the nearest hospital? What do you want to do?" Emlyn's gotta eat, bro. Emlyn's starved, and he's gotta eat. At least he's going for the people who are already sick. You know? He's respectful like that. Emlyn hesitated for a moment before asking again, "Where's the nearest hospital?" "What do you want to do?" Leonard asked in a professional manner. "Getting a blood transfusion." Emlyn raised his chin slightly, trying his best not to change his expression. "Blood transfusion. More like drinking blood." Leonard didn't call him out. He pointed in one direction and gave him the address. After watching the Sanguine Viscount leave, he returned to the underground and began discussing the recent case with his team members. After several days of traveling, Klein finally arrived near the Noise ruins in the north. This was equally a desolate plain. The dried riverbed left traces on itself on the ground. Looking at the dark, shadowy city that was filled with thin fog, he was in no hurry to get close. Instead, he found a hidden spot and muttered the honorific name of Mr. Fool. Following that, he took 4 steps counterclockwise and recited the incantation before entering the world above the grey fog. To return to Zephyr Castle with just a thought, he needed the prayers of the Terror Club members to stack together, forming a strong and firm anchor. That way, it would provide the Fool with a sufficient summoning power. With the help of the prayer light, Klein used his true vision to check the situation in Noise ruins from afar. He discovered that the thin fog was slowly dissipating, but it couldn't completely dissipate. On the surface of the city, there wasn't a single spirit body thread. The people who were dressed in linen robes or animal hides were lying in different spots on the streets. They weren't as lively and busy as the time the City of Silver's expedition team visited. After the Angel of the Sealed Artifact that occupied the city discovered that their whereabouts were exposed, they chose to migrate. As Klein made a guess based on the situation in front of him, he retracted his gaze and looked at the grayish-white fog that held up Zephyr Castle. He was trying to prevent the Miracle Invoker attendant to mysteries and the corresponding sealed artifact from hiding in the historical void and ambushing the Beyonders of the ancient Noise city. He didn't wish to directly encounter the cluster of transparent maggots that twisted into a huge vortex when he leapt into the fog of history, nor did he wish to be pursued by those terrifying tentacles. The ambush that Zertil laid for him still left Klein feeling a lingering sense of fear. Bro's got PTSD. From time to time, he would have nightmares, hoping to seek Miss Justice from another round of treatment for psychological trauma. The stimulus was worse than seeing his marionettes, and he would wear a monocle in front of him while his body remained completely immobile. This was because he had implicated the hounds of Fulgrim. After confirming that the historical void was safe, Klein returned to the real world. He stretched out his hands, grabbed and pulled out a former self. The former self was also wearing a silk top hat, a black trench coat, and holding a simple glass lantern. In the next second, he jumped into the grayish-white fog and followed the illuminated spot in the historical void, running all the way to the period before the First Epoch, in that city of the long-dead civilization. To him, this was a very ingenious safe house. Yeah, I think I wrote like 5 more chapters. This was because, aside from him, no scholar viewer could trace back to the lost piece of history. Of course, to him, coming all the way here had required him to expend a lot of his spirituality. He could only stay there for another 15 minutes at most, and that was the only if he didn't make any burdening attempts to summon historical void projections. After hiding his true body, Klein projection in the real world moved forward, quickly arriving outside of Neuss ruins. He didn't blindly approach or enter. After circling the small mound opposite the dried riverbed, he raised his right hand and summoned his original marionette, the cold Earl of Fallen Conus Kilgore with his dark blue eyes. Conus's body squirmed and instantly transformed into Gammon Sparrow. Then he reached out and took out a lantern from the historical void. The historical projection, who summoned the historical projection of disorder and distance under the dim yellow light of the lantern in a few steps. He arrived outside Neuss City alone. Oh, I thought I fixed all of them. Okay, I'll fix this after. In a few steps, he arrived outside Neuss City alone. With the lantern in hand, he passed through the rotting buildings and passed through the thin fog before entering the ruins. Compared to using his true vision above the grey fog, actually made contact and discovered more details. The human and monsters lying in different spots had a sign of decay, as though they had been abandoned for some time. Some of them sat on chairs under the eaves of the houses, others slumped down beside the stoves. Some held moldy bread, while others held hands. There were some leaning against the walls and sitting on the ground, their lips pursed against the bone flute, as this allowed Klein to imagine the situation in the city back when they were living. Some of them were slacking off and resting, some were baking food, and others were shopping along the streets. Others were focused on music, and some came and went, laughing non-stop. There was also others fighting monsters in the arena. This was such a lively and bustling scene. In the reality, everyone had already died and were no longer in possession of their souls. They were only repeating predetermined actions. And one day, the strange scene froze with time, and everyone collapsed without any warning. A city formed by marionettes, the most realistic theater. Back then, the foggy town was in a similar situation. Although I'm a seer, I still have to say that, in terms of horror, terror, and bizarreness, our pathway is definitely ranked amongst the top 3. No, it truly is. Could it be that I'll be acting in the same manner in the future, attendant of mysteries? With the lantern in hand, Klein walked through the streets and were littered with corpses. He followed the spiritual intuition and headed for the ancient Neuss city center. Aww. The situation here made him believe that the person who had once ruled the Neuss city definitely had enough intelligence. After the City of Silver's expedition team broke the peace and serenity here, the entity didn't choose to kill or destroy any clues. Instead, the place was abandoned without hesitation before the entity migrated elsewhere. The reason why the City of Silver wasn't silenced probably has to do with the Mons parasite falling behind. Yes, it could also be because the true creator, he has casually let his thoughts wander. Klein quickly arrived at the relatively intact cathedral. Inside the cathedral stood a statue of a demonic wolf with 8 legs. It was covered in short and dark hair. There was a tuft of grayish-white fur at the top of the statue head. Its pitch-black pupils covered at least 3/4 of its eyes. It's not Zagreia, it's dark demonic wolf that occasionally appeared in the Third Epoch. The god of wishes. He has been in the forsaken land of the gods for thousands of years and has finally found that sequence one beyond a characteristic. Just as his thoughts flashed through its mind, Klein suddenly heard footsteps coming, resounding one after another. Standing sideways, he immediately cast his gaze outside the cathedral. He saw a figure slowly walking through the thin fog before its outline quickly formed. It was nearly a 2.3 meter tall, with a slight hunch on its back, with grizzled hair, wrinkles at the corner of its eyes, and a scar in the corner of its mouth. He looked like an old priest or a bishop while donning a long black clergyman robe. It's easy. His dark brown eyes were calm and like the monsters deep in the darkness who were bloodthirsty and zero intelligence. However, this long, quiet night of low-frequency lightning, this clergyman didn't carry any animal hide lanterns or have any fires lit. He just quietly walked through the thin fog. Although it had been less than a week since he entered the Forsaken Land of the Gods, Klein had long gotten the good understanding of the place through Little Sun. He knew that normal humans, even saints, had to use fire to create light in the darkness, otherwise it was very easy for them to encounter dangerous monsters lurking in the depths of the darkness. To be secretly devoured, disappearing without a trace, never to be found again. In the moment, the elderly clergyman wasn't carrying any animal hide lanterns. Instead, he passed through the fog and the darkness and slowly entered the cathedral that was illuminated by the dim yellow light. If it wasn't for his deep and calm eyes that didn't show any signs of madness, Klein's first reaction would have been that he had encountered a special monster. Of course, having a normal person's state of mind and being immersed in the darkness were contradictory traits. Any living creature with the semblance of normal intelligence could easily come up with the conclusion that this person might even be more terrifying than the special monsters. Klein had already met one person who passed through the darkness without being affected by this while having sufficient intelligence. Blasphemer Amon. Sensing that the faint yellow light was reflected on the face, and the tall black-robed clergyman was slightly hunched at his back, stopped in his tracks, looking at the demonic wolf statue, he hoarsely asked, "Where did the owner of the city go?" Klein was the kind of person who would try his best to resolve the problem peacefully, if a fight with a stranger could be avoided. As he raised his guard, he calmly replied, "I don't know where either. I just entered the city. Who knows where the owner went?" Just as he said that, the entire cathedral dimmed. A thin fog surged in a tidal wave from the outside, drowning the interior. The lantern Klein's hand failed miserably at illuminating the windows and the situation at the door. It was dark outside, and nothing could be seen. In the blink of an eye, the cathedral that worshipped the demonic wolf statue seemed to be isolated from Noise City. It was unknown where it was located. Klein's pupils dilated slightly as he looked at the clergyman with wrinkles and white hair, in a deep voice. "Who are you?" The hunched clergyman replied in a condescending manner, "I am an attendant by the Lord's side. I am the angel of the holy word. Steph, I walk the lands of the past that the Lord has passed on, doing so on his behalf in search of the blasphemer hidden in the darkness." "You looking for a mom?" As he spoke, the elder's figure expanded to the height of 4 meters tall. Behind him, black illusory feathers appeared. Their shadows intersected and formed 4 pairs of gloomy but holy wings. Angel of the holy word. Steph, an attendant by the Lord's side. Land of the past. This is the blessed of the true creator. An angel of fate subordinate, a member of the Rose Redemption. It's no wonder that he can walk in the darkness. He has the powers of degeneration protecting him. That evil god is still searching for the beyond characteristics of the attendant of mysteries. Klein had no choice but to raise his hand and lock eyes with the clergyman who, despite wearing a black robe, had 4 pairs of angel wings on his back. This high-level existence angel's form remained wrinkled with grizzled hair. There was a scene of contradiction in everything about him. Pretending that he had never made an enemy of the Aurora Order, he calmly said, Klein's really putting those acting clown skills to work right now. "That blasphemer has long fled. I'm also searching for him." After staring at Klein for 2 seconds, the angel of unholy words asked in a low voice, "Who are you?" It won't be convenient saying it out directly. Klein sighed and smiled. "I'm a lonely traveler." After he gave his reply, he suddenly felt an extreme sense of darkness developing within him. It then sank down and merged with the shadow created by the lantern. The pitch-black finger abruptly wrapped and came to life, stretching itself to become another Gehrman sparrow. Oh my god. One was sinister and ferocious. Oh my god. Even better! With ferocious eyes and a solitary demeanor. This, Klein's pupils contracted. Without any hesitation, he reached out his right hand and grabbed outward into thin air. At this point, if he had guessed that Steph was using his answer, he should have joined the Aurora Order and made the true creator his god. At this moment, he already knew what it meant by angel of the holy word. It was clear that the angel of the evil word. By using his person's reply, he could extract the portion of the ambiguity and expand on the creature to affect the spirit language. When Klein said that he didn't know where the owner of the city had gone, Steph extracted the words, "I don't know where I went," tapping himself and isolating himself from the outside world. When the angel revealed his identity, every word was enhancing his level and strength. When Klein answered who he was, it ended up separating a lonely traveler from him. From the moment he appeared in Noise City, there was a strong sense of malice in the black-robed Steph, and just as Klein was attempting to summon the particular image from the historical void, a sinister Gehrman sparrow seemed to share the same thought as he did. He too grabbed at the same projection, canceling each other out. Seeing that his powers as a scholar Yor had been restrained, Klein's eyes narrowed. Without any hesitation, he opened his mouth and said with a word in Jotun. But in the next second, the word was stolen. Standing at about 4 meters tall, the stooped angel of the holy word Steph had at some point in time grown a head covered in blood on his left shoulder. It looked very similar to him, but was much younger, a person who was approximately in his 40s. Around the head were 2 skinless arms, and it managed to flesh as they grazed different souls had used beyond their powers and can steal thoughts. At the same time, another bloody head grew out of Steph's right shoulder, one that looked to be in his 20s. Amongst the 3 heads, one grazed souls and stole Klein's thoughts, while the other was staring coldly at the target, depending on self-awareness of the lonely traveler. The last one opened his mouth and said, "You lie. You were the person who destroyed the Son of the Gods' descent ritual and interfered with the Lord's descent twice. Oh, shit! You were the targets I'm looking for. Oh my god! The corners of Klein's mouth twitched as he calmly said in a word in Jotun, Leodero. This was the true name of the Lord of Storms. The reason why this thought wasn't stolen was because he had lined up a subsequent action. The line was filled with the same content. It didn't matter if the first thought was stolen, as it didn't affect the subsequent thoughts. This was a precious experience he had gained from fighting Amon. Oh my god, I love it. I love it! Of course, if he were to meet Amon again, he suspected that such a method might not work. Once the god of mischief was prepared, he would definitely come up with something new. As soon as he finished speaking, the eyes of the angel of the holy word angel Steph lit up with bolts of silver lightning. They covered an entity in Noise City and tore through the darkness that enveloped the cathedral. They tore apart all the corruption, concealment, darkness, violence, and evil. Inside Klein, the sinister Garin Sparrow was situated at the eye of the lightning storm. Without even a grunt, they dissipated. Then the terrifying silver-white twisted electric bolt snaked the area and swallowed the demonic wolf statue as well as the angel of holy sword Steph. Amidst the dull rumbling sounds, the ancient city of Noise completely collapsed, becoming a true ruin. At the opposite side of the dried-up riverbed, Klein's historical projection quickly faded away, returning to the real world. Right on the heels of that, Klein immediately used Flaming Jump to distance himself from the Noise ruin. During this process, he pulled a few paper figurines and made them into angels to cover his tracks. The desolate plains returned to its state of dead silence once again. After an unknown period of time, the ruins where the cathedral stood shook. Steph slowly stood up, and amidst crumbling dust and rock, his completely white hair had thinned again, and his deep black clergyman robe became tattered. The angel of holy word left Noise ancient city in silence, got his bearings, and walked deep into the darkness. Half a day later, the figure approached the city of ruins from another direction. It was none other than Klein, who had made a huge detour. He hadn't had the chance to check the ancient city of Noise previously. As he returned to the time, he was motivated by the hope of finding actual clues of the existence. At a relatively far distance away, Klein repeated his observation above the great fog, summoning the historical projection hidden in the ancient times, using the projection to summon another historical projection. After finishing his preparation, he stepped into Noise once again and returned to the cathedral of absolute silence. Along the way, the corpse that had been lying dead on the ground had entered either an ash or turning to charred remains, devoid of creepy and harrowing feelings. Oh my god. That fellow named Steph did die. From the looks of it, the remnant divine powers of the storm here can only injure an angel. Klein stopped in front of the ruined cathedral and muttered to himself wishfully. Of course, he only found a little regretful. He didn't expect to finish off the angel so easily. As he swept his gaze, he saw a few pieces of demonic wolf statue. The statue of the dark black and insides were dark red, nothing like commonly seen stone. These stones must be extraordinary for them to be used by the dark demonic wolf for his statue. Furthermore, they don't look like something produced in the vicinity. Perhaps I can seek out the area of the dark demonic wolf hid prior to Noise City by investigating them. As a miracle invoker or even an attendant of mysteries, that dark demonic wolf must be good at covering his tracks. It'll be very difficult to track his whereabouts directly, but if I can find most of the areas he had previously, I should be able to gain insight to his habit and style. Once I know a person's past, I can predict his future. As he thought, he took 2 steps forward, bent down, and attempted to pick up a fragment of the statue. At that moment, a charred hand suddenly reached out and blocked his finger. From the corner of his eyes, he saw a charred corpse standing up. The charred corpse, other hand held onto a... No. And we're back. Thank you. Yep, thank you. The charred corpse, on the other hand, held a crystal monocle and wore it on his left eye. Right. Yep. Amon, left eye. Left eye? Klein's heart tightened him first before a strong sense of doubt and suspicion surfaced within him. The next second, the charred corpse smiled and said, "Sorry, I wore it on the wrong side." Okay. As it spoke, it took off the monocle and moved it to the right eye. Fucking, what a guy. What a guy. Amon just did to Klein what Klein did to Medici. And I kind of love that for him. Once again, Klein understood why Amon was the god of mischief. At that moment, he didn't even have a desire to lampoon. Oh my god! Amon stole Klein's desire to lampoon! Okay, that's too far. It's too far. He has officially crossed the line. If there's one thing you don't take away from Klein, you can take away his will to live. You can take away his family. You can take away his powers. You do not take away Klein's money, and you do not take away Klein's lampooning. Those are two things that are just unacceptable. Everything else, sure. But money and lampooning? Get out of here. Get out of here. At that moment, he didn't even have the desire to lampoon. All he wanted to do was immediately and historically projection to escape from Amon. No Amons in front of him. The charred corpse had been parasitized, wiped in soot from his face. Before Klein disappeared, it said with a smile, "There's no rush. You are just a projection from the historical void. I can't really parasitize you, and you should know very well that I'm not alone. It's difficult for you to launch an effective counterattack." With a simple lantern in hand, Klein thought silently. He picked up a piece of black sculpture fragment that he read inside, and he cautiously asked, "What exactly do you want to say?" At that moment, Amon had already changed back into his appearance. The only problem is that his skin remained darker. He adjusted his crystal monocle and chuckled. "You know that I'm aware that you're searching for the dark demonic wolf in an attempt to obtain the miracle invokers beyond a characteristic from him. I happen to be very interested as well. Why don't we play another game and see who can get to it first?" After the point of that, it's not like I won't pursue or think about snatching it from "Don't play this game." After 2 seconds of silence, he shook his head. "I refuse." He had no intention of listening to what conditions Amon would offer. That moment he had heard the top cheat, and more he would suffer. Amon shook his head without a hint of anger. "You'll regret this. I had originally planned on using miracle invokers beyond a characteristic to exchange for Separate Castle with you, and also give you a period of time to transfer the secret gatherings you organized. And now, I can only consider stealing your fate directly. I will carry the burden of the corrosion from the source. Yes, although it's dangerous, still thrilling enough. I'm already prepared to accept it and see who will eventually control the flow. With my father's experience, I believe I won't perform too poorly." What? Corrosion from the source. The experience of the ancient sun god. Klein originally didn't wish to continue discussing the topic of the miracle invokers beyond a characteristic in Separate Castle, but when he heard that, his heart stirred. He recalled Amon's description and couldn't help but ask. The source refers to the oldest one, the first creator. He desperately wanted to know what source of unbearable fate Separate Castle would bring him. Amon pinched his edge of his monocle and looked up at him for a few seconds before smiling suddenly. "It's better if I don't answer this question directly. You won't believe every word I say." "No! Answer it! Answer it correctly! I'll believe every word! I'll believe every word!" "Tell me, I'll determine its authenticity." Klein suppressed the urge to blurt out and calmly reply, "Maybe it's just because you haven't made up the reason yet." Amon didn't mind it at all. He smiled and said, "You can think of it that way too." Bye, Nagito. Have a good sleep. At times, the truth that you discover for yourself is definitely more agreeable than the others tell you. If you have the time, you can wander around the forsaken land of the gods. You should provide you with more clues. Of course, if you have the guts to enter Chernobyl, then you would know more. I think we should enter Chernobyl. I think, here's the thing. Is it maybe going to risk Klein's life? Yes. Am I going to get all of my questions answered? Yes. I say he goes with them on into Chernobyl. Just throwing it out here. Klein didn't pursue the matter any further. After staring at the collapsed cathedral that was bathed in faint yellow light, he casually said, "Did the dark demonic wolf hurriedly migrate because of the discovery of your existence?" Amon nodded slightly and said, "It wasn't just me. He also sensed the hangman's glaze. He had been hiding in the forsaken land of the gods for thousands of years. He is very sensitive to such matters. A Sequence 2 angel, perhaps even a Sequence 1 angel, can only play hide-and-seek in the forsaken land of the gods and live such an abject life. Isn't the environment here a little too harsh?" Klein sighed inwardly before saying, "You must have left more than one avatar in the City of Silver. Why didn't you try and stop me from arriving there? Why didn't you send more powerful avatars over?" Amon nudged the bottom of his monocle and his right index finger and laughed. "If that happens, you'll choose to revive in the outside world. This will cause quite a bit of trouble for my follow-up tracking. And if we were to relax a little due to the existence of the miracle invoker beyond a characteristic in the forsaken land of the gods, you would most likely be resurrected here. In the following game, the only thing that we need to consider are the hangman and Ouroboros." Got it. I said it. Oh my god. Got it. "Just a thought," Klein said after some thought. Even in the same region, as long as you exceed a certain distance, your true body and avatars have no way to instantly merge to switch locations. Back when you first entered this forsaken land of the gods, you were able to transform back into your true form because the anomalies of Sephir Castle had similarly interfered with the area here, allowing your true body to sense something. You went to the entrance in advance to wait. After hearing what he said with a smile, Mon asked without answering, "What's your guess?" "Why don't you guess? If I've turned back into my original form." Klein raised his right fist and covered his mouth. After pondering for a few seconds, he revealed a smile. "I guess your other avatars are setting up a corresponding ritual to allow your true body to descend directly." Before he could finish his sentence, he figured rapidly turned incorporeal and dissipated. The historical void projection was dispelled. In the wilderness outside the ancient city of Noise, the air around the hiding Klein suddenly stirred. In midair, there were a series of illusory monocles. Oh my god. They stared at Klein's figure as if they were saying to finally found him. No way. However, Klein's figure rapidly faded away. Back when Amon moved the monocles to his right eye, Klein had already returned from ancient history to the real world. With the help of the paper angel, he had used Flaming Jump and other Beyonder powers to quickly leave. The reason why his historical projection was still able to speak Amon rather normally was because he was essentially a marionette. It was Conus Kilgore in the form of Gawain Sparrow. He had a worm of spirit that came from the historical inside him and controlled by Klein's projection outside the city. Meanwhile, in the process of escaping far away, Klein frequently entered the historical void, allowing the projection outside the city to intermittently regain consciousness and maintain control of his marionettes. This caused the person who had spoken to Amon to fall into deep thought from time to time. He would either stare with the focused look of a few seconds or seemingly need to recall what Amon had said. Against the god of deceit, Klein didn't dare be careless. After leaving Noise City, he circled around 2 more times and used his true vision to inspect his surroundings before the gray fog. Only then did he slow down. The corrosion that comes from the source. I wonder if Amon is bluffing me. Indeed, I'll have to enter Chernobyl one day to take a look, but I have to become a miracle invoker, doing so after I have self-preservation abilities to a certain degree. Otherwise, I'll just be knocking on death's door. With the lanterns and Donitz had sacrificed, Klein casually proceeded in the dark environment to the weeds. Thanks to this experience, he finally had a deeper understanding of the danger of the forsaken land of the gods. Extremely harsh and warped environment, crazy cultists, fallen angels, group of Amons wandering around, the mythical creatures lurking in the darkness. Somewhere here, there are evil gods watching everything. I can stir remnant divine powers that others can as well. As expected, the forsaken land of the gods. The danger level far exceeds my imagination. As he sighed, he turned his attention back to Dark Demonic Wolf. To be frank, he didn't think he had any advantage of tracking this mythical creature, be it his understanding of the forsaken land of the gods, or his confidence in target situations. He was far inferior to Amon, who had exploring the area for more than 1,000 years, as well as the true creators Bless, who had the benefits of place being their home ground. My only advantage is that I shared the same seer pathway as the Dark Demonic Wolf. Furthermore, I have Sephir Castle. There's a strong inclination for beyond a characteristic convergence. This will have a certain effect on the fate and judgment. However, Amon is a king of angels in the neighboring pathway. There's also the law of beyond a characteristic convergence between him and the Dark Demonic Wolf. The effects won't be any weaker than mine. Klein considered carefully for a moment when he suddenly had an idea. He found his best advantage. The advantage was he was very weak. Compared to Amon, the true creator's attendant, and the Dark Demonic Wolf, he was very weak. Under normal circumstances, this was a disadvantage, but at times it was possible that he could bring him something that he wanted. My level is low, and I am weak. This means that I can become a human target of the Dark Demonic Wolf instead. It's very difficult for me to find him, so why don't I get him to come find me instead? The Scholar of Yore might not necessarily interest the Dark Demonic Wolf, but if the Scholar of Yore can still trigger Sephir Castle, that's a whole other matter. I can stir Sephir Castle from time to time, leaving behind traces of the Grey Fogs. I don't even know what was said, but sure. Was it Dario? Is Dario back? Is he back and being weird? The more he thought, the more visible he believed it was. Of course, this was definitely very dangerous. If he wasn't careful, he might accidentally bait Amon or even the true creator, and the dark demonic wolf might be very likely choose to observe first before suddenly launching an attack and not giving him a chance to prepare. Before taking this approach, I have to make sufficient preparations. There's no need to rush it. Taking a deep breath, Klein reached out his hand and pulled back the black demonic wolf sculpture fragment that was red on the inside. Although he had fallen to obtain the item due to Amon's obstruction, this didn't stop him from taking it out from the historical void. This was because he had already seen it and had touched it, and the item itself was a high level. At that moment, he wanted to use the fragment and search for the hiding spot of dark demonic wolf by analyzing it in reverse and figuring out of its modus operandi. In the wilderness ruled by darkness, Klein lifted the lantern and emanated faint yellow light. He got his bearings and changed directions before slowly entering Backlund Hillston Burrow. Forrest, who had gone out traveling once, finally received a reply from her teacher, Dorian Gray Abraham. Oh, ew, yeah. Yeah, we can get rid of him. That's chill. It's chill. Appreciate the comments, but, you know, sometimes when you compliment people, it sounds kind of serial killery. Just a heads up. Don't do that. There are no worms of the star at the moment. He wants me to take note of what else the person who is seeking to purchase the worms of the star need. Forrest read the letter from her teacher and silently heaved a sigh of relief. However, when she thought about how she was going to begin... Here's the thing. I like your skin is super creepy, but is the fact that you're the one commenting it that makes it even more creepy, you know? Like, it's already unnerving. But, yeah. It was unknown if he was already a Sequence 3 now, although the mastermind behind the operation is Ma'am Hermit as the bait. I won't... I think it is some kind of culture language barrier, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. It's really fine. But, you know, there's just like, hey, maybe we're coming in really hot. We're coming in at like a 10. How about we come in like a solid 4, you know? Especially when the rest of chat comes in at like a -6. That's the other thing. So, it was actually just someone's alt account. Put it in chat. Who do you think it was? How convenient that unknown shows up now. Coincidence? I think not. It was unknown if he was already a Sequence 3 now. Although the mastermind behind the operation is Ma'am Hermit as the bait, I still need to worry about my own safety. Besides, the Aurora Order still has... Honestly, here's the thing. I think it was Wiz. I truly do. I think Wiz is maybe a serial killer. Maybe not, but we'll see. I think it might be Wiz. It might be. Who knows? Forrest didn't grant and agree to Garamond Sparrow's request. This was something he wanted to do in the first place, however, due to the high risk involved. Yeah, I'm starting Omniscient Reader's viewpoint after. It was inevitable for her to feel flustered and uneasy. This made me think of another possibility. Oh my god. All I do is I come on here and I just slander him. And also just slandered unknown for no reason. And I don't even know if that guy was trying to be creepy. He might have been trying to be nice and just couldn't get the words out. He just sounded creepy. That wasn't Forrest didn't believe that Ma'am Herman's strength and experience, but the results from the world given Sparrow were laid bare for all to see. His hunts didn't include 1 or 2 demigods, so having him run the operation would make him feel easy. He was being kind of creepy. Shio, who was sitting beside the fireplace, glanced at her friend and asked, "Is the hunt about to begin?" "Yes," Forrest nodded solemnly before saying, "I won't be too soon. Everyone needs time to prepare." Oh, no! It was meant with so much love. It was meant with so much love, I promise. Also, thank you. Thank you always. Bro, it didn't crash stream. The curse might be over. Hunting a demigod wasn't akin to fox hunting in the suburbs during... Oh my god. I actually think I just sneezed out my brain. I know. Thank you. Hunting a demigod wasn't akin to fox hunting in the suburbs during autumn. Setting off wasn't as simple as bringing the equipment and gathering friends. This required a precise and meticulous plan. Forrest believed that Ma'am Herman had to come to Backland personally or live with another kill box that she had. We'll see. I don't know. The Wi-Fi has been, like, really good. Other than, like, the little lag here and there. It's been pretty good. Decided on some... Also, I don't know why, but my hair's been looking really thick today. Which is making me really happy. The bald spots are slowly... The forehead is slowly... going back. Deciding on some time only by figuring out extra situations could she come up with an effective plan. As for Miss Justice, she was still speeding up the digestion of her Dreamwalker potion. This might take another 1 to 2 months or even longer. For Forrest, she could afford to wait. She also wanted to finish digesting her Scribe potion, set up a ritual, and become a traveler before actually Operation begin. The only thing she wasn't sure of was whether the world would rush them. I will try my best to convince them. No, let Miss Justice convince them. That wasn't a spectator it's best at. Just as Forrest mumbled, she saw Shio turn around and hesitantly say, "The liaison officer from MI9 suggested that I should officially join them today, and they said that with the new king in place, there are many matters in the past that I don't need to worry about. People like me and him have the chance to have important placed on them again." Forrest listened attentively and said after some deliberation, "That isn't some sort of investigation that's targeted at us, right? This will likely make them discover that there's a faction behind you." Shio nodded and said they believe that they were abandoned after the incident. Also, they suspect that the faction belongs to the Church of Evernight. Shio believed that the Evernight goddess is mentioning the church was undoubtedly referring to the Church of Evernight. However, considering that her good friend was a believer in the god of steam machinery, she made an emphasis to prevent any ambiguity. That's what Mr. World told us to disguise ourselves as. Forrest stroked her hair and relaxed expression as she said with a smile. She then made herself look serious and mature. "Shio, this is an opportunity for you. Acting as a judge clearly requires the support of the officials. Your current strength and level aren't enough to be judge of the underground world in Backland. You also lack sufficient support. If you can really enter a court of law, rotate between the different courts, and serve in a criminal court of a few months, your position to be completely digested." Oh, right, I heard that MI9 has a paranormal court within it. Oh my god, is Shio gonna become a ghost hunter? I heard... If you become the judge there, you might be able to attempt a disciplinary paladin by February or March next year. Seeing Shio clearly being moved by her speech, Forrest hurriedly added, "Once you make enough contributions, you might be able to restore your father's reputation to a certain extent. Anyway, George III is already dead. As long as it doesn't affect his reputation, Jevington the second by Unhinged. First off, Jevington, sick ass name. I'm gonna name my kid that. Doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl or non-binary. Actually, Jevington for a non-binary person would actually go hard. Might not stop it. Jevington was the eldest son of George III. He had worn the crown as Balam Emperor and was now the new King of Lowen. Shio, is it Gevington? Govington? Oh, dude, that name fucking sucked. My name is better. His name, Jevington. Govington? Is the O invisible? Gio fell silent for a while before she slowly nodded. I'll give it a try. Yes, after things settle down, you can bring your mother and brother to Backland. Unhinged stole. Although the situation is tense now and food prices are rapidly rising, you definitely get food rations from MI9. You can provide for them. The more Forrest spoke, the more she felt that joining MI9 was a good thing. It is Jevington? Okay. Sick ass name. Immediately following that, Forrest extracted the importance of her teacher's reply and described her thoughts, hoping the Gairman Sparrow could be more patient. I'm just hoping, Gairman Sparrow. Just as she finished her prayers and was about to leave the room, her vision suddenly blurred. She saw crimson tide surge out of the void, instantly drowning her. Forrest immediately discovered that she was arrived in the ancient palace and was sitting on her usual high-back chair. However, there was no towering figure that shrouded in grey fog. Oh my god, on the long brown seat. At that moment, there was only her and Mr. Gairman Sparrow around the long molten table. Why does this girl just live my dreams? Also, this is literally just her dream. They're even at the table. This is not fair. Forrest's mind suddenly tensed up as her thoughts raced suddenly. Mr. World, I meant just now that it's best if you have some patience. This will make things simpler. It's actually fine if you don't. We will begin hunting as soon as possible. Klein let out a soft chuckle. Don't worry, I'm not in a hurry. Oh my god. Stop. When his ultimate goal had become an angel-level potion formula, the Grade Zero sealed artifact. Oh, I'm so sorry, Chris. Not actually, though. It's actually fine if you don't. We will begin hunting as soon as possible. Don't worry, I'm not in a hurry. When his ultimate goal had become an angel-level potion formula of the Grade Zero sealed artifact, he had enough patience regarding this matter. Oh my god, and he takes it slow, too. Forrest secretly heaved a sigh of relief and asked curiously, then why did you look for me? Klein replied calmly, didn't you wish to digest the scribe potion as quickly as possible? Apart from the customs of different palaces, I think you still need to record all kinds of beyonder powers. The higher the corresponding level, the better the digestion effect. Forrest's eyes lit up when she heard that. Yes. After blurting it out, she found her attitude highly questionable. She hurriedly and fearfully asked, is this the advance payment you mentioned before? Klein nodded slightly and said, let's begin. Be prepared. I borrowed a Grade 1 sealed artifact from Mr. Fool. It corresponds with the level of a saint. To a sequence 6 scribe, the chance of successfully recording an angel level beyond her power was extremely low, nearly impossible. Therefore, Klein did attempt to summon Miss Messenger and Mr. Azik from the historical void to showcase their skills. Forrest sat up straight and nodded heavily. Yes. In the next second, she saw Mr. World Gairman Sparrow raise a white bone scepter covered in blue gems. Amidst the bright light, bolts of lightning leaped out of the void and interwove together, forming the forest of lightning that emanated the aura of destruction. Forrest's eyes turned silvery white as her body and mind were left in awe. It's actually a Yeti. My sister got it for me for Christmas. After a lightning storm calmed down, she was stunned for 2 seconds before timidly saying, it failed. Again. Klein calmly replied. Lightning storm. Descended again and again in the ancient palace above the great fog. After an unknown period of time, Forrest exhaled and leaned back in her chair. She couldn't hide her joy. She said, It's a success, it's a success. She had finally recorded Lightning Storm once. It's finally over. Forrest immediately relaxed, then she heard the world say without emotion, All right, next beyond her power. Next, Forrest saw the crazy adventurer at the bottom of the long molten table extend his right hand and grab the grayish-white fog. Out of nowhere, he took a long, thorny cross that had covered in bronze. Record this cross ability. Forrest tried hard to make her expressions appear normal. After she digested the scribe potion to a certain extent, the godhood powers that she could record had increased from 1 to 2. No. Klein glanced at Miss Messenger and said, Record my summoning of Unshadow Crucifix. It failed. Forrest said softly. The reason for her failure this time was that she didn't have the time to record it. Dispelling the maintenance of the Unshadowed Crucifix, Klein once again reached into the fog of history and pulled out an iron-black revolver. It didn't succeed. Forrest replied with complicated expressions. All she wanted to do now was to return to the real world and digest what she had received, but the ringing of the bells to mark the end of class just didn't happen. Nearly 30 times later, when Forrest's head throbbed in pain and her mental strength began to run dry, she finally recorded Historical Void summoning once. Oh my god. Oh my god. At that moment, she felt the tears in her eyes, but she still held back her fatigue and tried her best to show the attitude of a good student. This can summon people and objects that one is related to through the historical void. When the time comes, who should I summon? Or what item should I summon? Klein looked at Miss Magician and coldly replied, Me. This fucking bitch. Forced a smile and asked, From which period? The last time we met. Klein had already thought of an answer. Oh my god. No. It was... I'm so fucking jealous right now. This is a fictional book. These are fictional characters in a fictional book who aren't, they aren't anything to each other. Klein is literally just doing this because he has to do this so he can get what he wants. There's nothing there. And I'm seething with jealousy right now. I'm pissed. I'm so pissed off. It was the him who had deliberately sent Miss Magician back from the world of ice and snow to Backman before he destroyed George III's ritual. He'd already become a scholar of yore by then. Forrest nodded solemnly and subconsciously asked, What if I fail? For me to summon someone who exceeds my own level, the probability of failure should be high. Come again tomorrow. No! Why does he keep bringing her back? Come again tomorrow and record this ability. Use Lemano's travels, Klein said calmly. Will 2 times be enough to succeed? Florence instinctively had such a question. However, she didn't dare to speak when she said how certain the world Gammon Sparrow was about to. She raised her hand and gestured. Then can I go back now? With a terse answer, he allowed Miss Magician to leave Sephra Castle with a delighted expression. No! In a primitive forest on Sonia Island, Alger Wilson led his subordinates into an elven ruin that was seldom visited. Piss me off. That should be me in this fictional book with this fictional man who truly would want nothing to do with me. Here's the thing. If Gammon Sparrow was real, he would want absolutely nothing to do with me. And I can accept that fact. I'm well aware of that fact. I will be living in my delusion. And I will be so pissed off that she is getting private lessons. This is also the last chapter. This is also going to be the last chapter. He wouldn't even waste creeping hunger on me. Truly he wouldn't. Oh my god, no, it's so not fair. This is gonna be the last chapter. The withered vines drooped down, covering the rotten wooden structures. The entire ruins had frozen into a silent atmosphere that no one had that ruins that no one had tread within for a while. Alger and a few sailors circled around the ruins and environment of a withering winter, but they still failed to discover anything of value. Captain Branches of adventurers had come here before. What else could have left us? Finally, a sailor in his 30s impatiently broke the silence, the resident with his other companions as they echoed, a place that didn't take as much time to learn about the definitely be easily found by others. That's right. Let's continue to fuck the Phaeacians. Captain, are you trying to make this place a stronghold? Alger slowly scanned the area, quelling the sailors and stopped their complaints under the gaze and making them choose to obey. After a few seconds of silence, he said, I plan on using this place to ambush the Phaeacians. Let's observe the terrain and see if it's suitable. With such an excuse, the sailors barely perked up, and their group quickly entered the depths of the elven ruins. As he walked, Alger's spiritual perception was triggered as he subconsciously looked behind a gigantic tree. There were some signs of churning in the soil over there, and it would take more than a year. Alger retracted his gaze and pretended not to notice anything amiss. He naturally looked elsewhere. After exploring the elven ruins, he returned to the new camp. At that moment, it was almost evening and the forest was getting colder. Alger had dinner with the sailors before leaving 2 patrolling guards behind, and then all of them entered their respective tents. The cold wind blew through the trees, causing the bonfire to sway. Alger, who had wanted to leave the campsite in the middle of the night, suddenly heard a faint singing from afar. The voice was ethereal, like a woman humming and singing slowly, relating her inner thoughts. This made Alger involuntarily recall the past. He recalled his mother, who had long passed away, in the days when he was bullied as a child. Indiscernible grief surged from the bottom of his heart, preventing him from walking up immediately. He waited for a few seconds before he suddenly sat down, frowning and listening. This time he didn't hear anything. The melodious voice seemed to have never happened. Alger narrowed his eyes, grabbed his thin jacket, and put it on. He walked out of the tent and came to the bonfire. The 2 sailors in charge of the night duty had to finish their patrol and was drawing warmth from it. Did you discover anything unusual? Alger asked in a deep voice. The 2 strong, vigorous sailors shook their heads. No. Alger's brows relaxed a little as he turned around, intending to make his own rounds. At this moment, he noticed something from the corner of his eyes. The 2 sailors were too close. If it were ordinary pirates, this wouldn't have been a problem. However, Alger's subordinates had undergone formal training through the Church of the Lord of Storms. They definitely knew that. In such an environment, the patrol team had to maintain a certain distance from each other. They couldn't be too far or too close. They had to be able to see their companions as well as prevent themselves from being taken away by the same time from a single assault. Alger took 2 steps without batting an eyelid. He turned back and casually asked, Did you discover anything normal? He had changed the question and made it appear very strange. The 2 strong sailors shook their heads and replied without changing their expressions, No. Alger, get out of there. Alger, get out of there. Please, get out of there. Very good. He turned around and slowly walked to his tent. The moment the sailor's attention was on him, he cut off. Alger drew the blade of poison in Gargoyle's glasses. He opened his mouth and prepared to belt out a song. In that moment, the ethereal voice from before appeared once again and echoed in Alger's ears and pierced into his mind. This was extremely ancient folk song, spelling out an extreme sense of sadness and melancholy through the singing. It made Alger's spirit body produce pale, non-existent arms and constantly tore at him. Oh my god. Alger's expression twisted as his skin began to produce slippery black fish scales. The dark blue hair stood up one by one as they became abnormally thick. The thought that originally existed in his mind were disrupted by the song, that were cut off by the pain. They were unable to take form any further. Alger fell and struggled on the ground. He squirmed, becoming less and less like a human, as well as pushed to the brink of losing control. Suddenly the singing stopped. A slightly indifferent voice entered Alger's ears. Some elven blood. Then that shall be all. Use sight as beyond a characteristic as well. Alger's forehead was covered in cold sweats as he slowly got up. He didn't know when the figure had appeared in his tent. It was a woman with black hair and exquisite facial features. Her ears were slightly pointed and her eyes were deep. Her facial features were soft and she wore a complicated and ancient long dress. Even though she didn't have an advantage in height, she still gave off an air of superiority. Are you the elf queen, queen of Calamity Cohenheim? A thought flashed through Alger's mind as he took some initiative to ask. The woman played with a beautifully decorated golden cup and calmly said, Haven't you already met me? Alger suddenly recalled a similar singing he had heard on the past 2 islands. He recalled seeing a high elf when he entered the underwater coral palace. After a few seconds of silence, Alger said in a deep voice, You're You're actually still alive. At the same time, he silently recited Mr. Fool's honorific name in his heart, but he didn't know if it would be effective if he didn't recite it out loud. The black-haired woman's expression remained unchanged as she replied, "It's very difficult for an angel to perish without encountering an enemy. Then why did you split the characteristics and place yourself in a strange state? This makes you need to wait for an opportunity to be resurrected." Alger had learned of the corresponding situation at the Tarot Club, and now he was asking out of curiosity, partly to stall for time. The elven lady suspected to be Queen of Calamity Cohenheim snorted, "Because the divine throne for Storm is occupied by Leodero, and I have no way of resisting the tyrant. Also, the elves are dwindling in numbers. My anchors are becoming increasingly unstable." Other people might not know about Leodero was, but Alger knew very well. He didn't dare continue this topic in a real world. Just as he was about to ask the Queen of Calamity Cohenheim's goal for coming, the Elf Queen said, "Do you want to become a demigod? She wants to use my body to revive. She wants to use my wish to advance to sequence 4 and obtain godhood as bait to intrude my body." While Alger was tempted, the question arose in his mind. Considering how Mr. Fool could cleanse all kinds of corruption, Alger accurately felt that this was an opportunity. This made him recall the term Emperor Ozel had once mentioned, a Trojan horse. Oh my god. And now he had a high chance of bringing the Trojan horse and throwing out the invaders within. "What do you want me to do?" Alger didn't appear too anxious, so he raised the question based on his personality. Queen of Calamity Cohenheim observed him for a few seconds before saying, "When you have the right to make contact with the Book of Calamity, take out something that no one else will notice and take it to the Western Continent." "The Western Continent?" "The legendary homeland of the elves." Alger frowned slightly and said, "Hasn't the Western Continent already disappeared?" The corners of Cohenheim's lips curled up slightly. "Since it disappeared, it will reappear again. It will definitely appear again when the apocalypse happens." Without waiting for Alger to ask further, the Elf Queen paused and said, "You don't have to personally send the item to the Western Continent, but you have to entrust someone trustworthy. Although I'm not skilled at curses, I still make you die and paid for breaking our agreement." "But what if the Western Continent doesn't appear again, or if it can't be entered?" Alger thought seriously for a moment. Cohenheim, with her gentle gaze and lustrous faven black hair, seemed to be lost in the beautiful memories. After a few seconds, she calmly said, "If it really doesn't appear again, then the arrangement shall be null and void. Perhaps entering the Western Continent requires an incantation or command, but I do not know what that is. However, you can ask a particular existence." "Who?" Alger asked, puzzled. Cohenheim glanced at him coldly and said, "The Mr. Fool you were chanting in your heart just now. I have a feeling that he is the key to this matter." Alger's heart tightened as he hurriedly lowered his head in response. "I understand." Seeing that Queen of Calamity Cohenheim nodded slightly and said, "If you wish to become a demigod and abide by this arrangement, you can head to the Elven Ruins when the sun rises." After the voice fell, the Elf Queen's figure quickly dissipated like a mirage that was often seen at the sea of the desert. Alger suddenly opened his eyes and realized that she was lying in a tent, having just woke up. That he was lying in a tent after just woke up. His memories were a mess, but he quickly regulated them. He and his sailors had just found the location of the Elven Ruins and had yet to explore it. The previous exploration, singing sailor anomalies, and appearance and conversations with Calamity were all just a dream. It's no wonder it was so careless. Even though I knew that I might encounter the Queen of Calamity, I didn't pray to Mr. Fool first. The Queen of Calamity relied on her status as an angel to create the realistic dream. Or perhaps she is corresponding sealed artifact. If she exists in the special state, she still has the means to use her powers. Alger listened to the commotion outside the tent and realized that everything was normal. He then sat down and prayed sincerely to Mr. Fool. In just 20 to 30 seconds, Alger arrived above the great fog and saw Mr. Fool sitting at the end of the long molten table. "You met Cohenheim." After the hangman greeted him, the Fool Klein spoke casually. Alger answered seriously, "Yes, but I can't be sure that it's the Elf Queen." We're all done for today. Dude, that almost took me 3 hours to read 10. I guess I read like, did I read 11 chapters? Maybe I read 12. I don't know. But we're all done. We're gonna stop for today. Anyway, thanks so much for joining. Love and appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. 75 to 85. Okay. That's not bad. I did 10 chapters. Love you all so much. Hope you have a wonderful day or wonderful night wherever you were at, whichever one that is. And I will see you guys next time, which might be tomorrow. It will be tomorrow. It just depends on what time it will be at tomorrow. So we will see. We will see. Other than that, goodbye. Have a wonderful rest of your night.